Because we live, bitches!
Coming soon to this theater. It's alive. It's moving. It's coming this way.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Horror Movie Club, where what do? We talk about horror movies, of course. We always try to make sure that it's a movie that is not behind a paywall. And it just so happens that tonight's movie, Possession, you can watch it on Shudder, which is now, I think, been folded into AMC Plus, or you can watch it by clicking on the link below, which is to a YouTube video of I think it's the 2K transfer, the one that came out, I think, about like 2 years ago. Anyway, tonight's movie is Andrei Zulawski's Possession from 1981, and it is how do I even put this? It's a very, very strange movie. It's fucked up. It's very, very, very strange, and caused a real stir when it first came out, and then it kind of faded into obscurity, and just in like the last, I would say, decade or so, it's been discovered or rediscovered, and it is now, I'm happy to say, widely regarded as a horror classic. Now, mind you, this is one of those movies that's so far out there that I can't guarantee that you're going to like it, but I can guarantee that you've never seen anything like it. I can guarantee that you will never forget it. It is a singular piece of art house horror cinema. So like I said, click on the link below if you dare to watch Possession. But of course, we're going to get into it. We're also going to talk about the week in horror, what movies are coming out, what movies maybe we've seen. And let me bring on my co-host, Matt Burke. What's going on, man? Oh, wait a second. I got to be fucking muted. Sorry about that.
What's up, guys? I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro. What's up?
Oh, okay.
What's up?
Hey, I'm chilling in a parking lot right now. But I'll be there in a little bit. Hey, I'm feeling pretty good.
That's what we like to
No,
hear.
I'm just dropping the kids off at the gym.
Okay. That's cool.
Good, he said.
Yeah.
Just don't yap on the phone and drive at the same time. You don't want to hear eek! And then your blood just dripping. Plip, 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 plip. That would not be good.
That would be perfect for Horror Movie Club.
Yeah, but that's like we're talking about make-believe horror here, not like real actual horror. So
Why not? Live action, baby.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, no, I can't take the real shit. I can't take the real shit.
I got shot with a
Demon
shotgun.
11 horror, like, oh, like you're into violence and shit. It's like it's make believe, motherfucker.
I got blown in half right here in this room with a shotgun in one of Laurie's videos.
Mm-hmm.
She had me get shot. I got blown away right here. Now I'm a zombie. Now I'm a zombie in the Path of the Pale Rider story.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's one of the things that's great about make believe violence is you can keep coming back because it's not real.
It was great.
It's make believe, And I agree with David Cronenberg. The people that that are censors are people that tend to confuse reality with fantasy, and those people are often referred to as schizophrenics. So yeah, we got my man Preston. Preston, what's going on? What you got crack-a-lacking?
I did not watch the movie.
Motherfucker. I
Thought it
knew
was
it.
too stupid.
I knew it. Stupid?
Yeah.
It's a lot of things, but it's not fucking stupid.
Pops, did you watch the movie?
No way.
Brian.
What up, Pop? You didn't watch this.
I was going to wait and see how it looked tonight in the show
Yeah.
to decide whether or not I wanted to go watch it.
That's what I was going to do too, because I was like, I don't know if I could get into this one.
I think, like I said,
I honestly think Pops wasn't going to say anything until I said something. He was just going to fake his way through.
Oh, no. I was right away going to
You can't fake your way through whether you see something or not.
No, I mean, look, this is in the genre of art house horror. The thing that's interesting about art house horror is that it is cinema that doesn't have a home, right? Art house horror is a genre that is usually too arty for the horror crowd and too much horror for the art house crowd. So it's made for like a really, really, really tiny niche audience. And that's why there aren't that many of them. But there are enough. You look at David Cronenberg's movies, especially his early movies are very frequently art house horror. This one's artier, that's for sure. But it also fucking delivers on the gore, and it has incredible performances by Sam Neill and Isabella Gianni in particular. As a matter of fact, well, this movie was really controversial when it first came out. Really controversial. Because it is a very confrontational piece of cinema. This is not a movie that is passive. This is a movie that puts you through a ringer. This is a movie that is actively out to fuck with you. What makes it watchable and entertaining is that it also has a real sense of humor about itself. And there's a lot of stuff in this movie that is funny. It's dark humor, but it is still humor. It's very surreal. And one of the hallmarks of surrealism has always been humor. But yeah, this was also a movie that included sex with tentacle monsters before the Japanese even thought of it.
Yeah,
So,
I might
definitely
have to watch this movie.
Eldritch, some Eldritch horror. I'd say it's a hard recommend.
Dude,
Definitely
right?
for the viewing experience. Definitely had some Cronenberg vibes in there. It's crazy seeing Sam Neill that young. I thought it was Eddie Redmayne or that dude that played Norman Bates in the new Bates Motel. It looked good too. The way the cinematography, the way it was shot.
Beautiful.
It looked like like a Michael Mann movie or Stanley Kubrick or Christopher Nolan of the 80s. Of its time.
Yes. It's a beautiful looking film. The cinematography is fantastic.
It was also during the time of the Berlin Wall. You had that the two sides of Germany going on. And it was weird that Sam Neill, he was a spy in the movie. You know what I mean? So
like a James Bond type, yeah.
If you're not really like picking up on it, it could just like really go over your head if you're not really paying attention.
What?
Did everybody freeze?
Yeah,
I'm here.
I just load a clip. Well, I freeze every time I load a clip. This is a movie about divorce, right? And I've always thought that this would make an excellent double feature with The Brood. Andrzej Zulawski made this movie as a way to retain his sanity, he said, when he went through a divorce. And David Cronenberg did the same thing, except in his case, there was also a custody battle that was going on. Mm-hmm. And The Brood is very much about how, I would say, a product of his guilt. That
let me put it this way:
how the children are the victims.
A custody battle will definitely put you into mind for horror.
Right?
Right.
I've been through it.
Yeah. No, I mean, because people were saying, well, why don't you just make like Kramer versus Kramer, right? Which was the big divorce movie, custody battle movie. And it's just like, well, I didn't want something that looked like my actual life. I wanted to get away from that shit. And that is the beauty and the brilliance of horror as a genre. It's not about how things look. It's about how things feel. And obviously, Zulawski was going through some pretty fucked up emotions. But oddly enough, approached the subject matter with a very, very strange sense of humor, right? Like when Sam Neill confronts Heinrich the guy that's banging his wife.
Right, the druggie.
And he's like a secret agent, and then he's getting his ass kicked by like this gay German dude.
Yeah.
Right, he's doing like
bisexual
and everything.
Yeah. He's like feeling them up too, you know.
It's
just hilarious.
Yeah.
They're like, what's gonna happen here?
Yes, it. Look, this movie is fucking bonkers. I first saw it when.
Did I freeze?
I'm here.
I'm
here.
Hold on. Yeah. Whenever I try to share my screen or something, that shit happens. Right, hold on. Okay, because we are a art-related, comic book-related stream, so of course, got to look up those posters, got to look up that fan art, and I found a bunch for this.
This could have been like a Lovecraft story, dude. Like if he survived another 30 years, you know, like during like the Cold War, you know. I don't know.
He was married and divorced. Problem is this deals a lot with. There's a lot of sex going on in this.
Yeah,
right?
A whole lot. Yeah.
And Lovecraft would not fucking touch this. This isn't stuff that it's like the Stuart Gordon movies, right? The ones they did with Dennis Paoli, you know, Reanimator, From Beyond, Dagon, Castle Freak.
Yeah, totally.
Those movies are inspired by Lovecraft, but they have a lot of stuff in them that Lovecraft absolutely would have hated.
Like I just felt like, because like the movie's called Possession, but I always felt like there was this entity like basically in the movie, like watching you up until like the first 40 minutes, you know, like you don't know where it's going, what's going on with his wife. It's intriguing. It's a good movie. It's a very good movie to watch at least once. And once you find out what it is, you're like, oh, okay, all right, that's what's going on. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't expect it. No, I wasn't expecting that. And then just, I don't know, the way he went to see the adulterer, you know, that was so funny, but it's still like that wasn't it. There was more to it, you know. I noticed there's like always, like whenever a scene happens, they're basically just about to show you something, like deliver the point of the scene, then they switch the scene. They'll edit it to another scene real quick.
Yes.
You know, a lot of quick edits in this movie.
Yes, it's constantly denying you, showing you like what you need to see. All right, until it's ready to show it to you, of course. Like I said, this was on the Video Nasties list, which is to say that when police were raiding video stores, yes, this went on in England, police were raiding video stores and grabbing movies off the shelves. This was one of the movies. The thing is when I saw it, it was on American Home Video and it was missing a half an hour. So I'd read about this movie in my monster magazines, right? So I already knew it was about like tentacle monster sex. I already like expected that because it had played at the Cannes Film Festival and was like a surprise hit. Isabella Adjani won the Palme d'Or. I think the movie won the Palme d'Or. I noticed she won for Best Actress, rightfully so. I don't think Sam Neill won anything, although he certainly should have, because he goes places in this that you've never seen him go before or since. And Adjani said that she had a breakdown after making this movie, and it took her about 3 or 4 years to recover from it.
I could see that. I mean, well, you know, like we're already like kind of tiptoed over the spoiler boundary, I guess, on this show.
Monster sex, yeah.
But there's a scene where she has the breakdown in the subway when she's basically talking to her husband about what happened to her. You know, she's having a miscarriage in the subway, and just the way she flips out, she's slamming her milk against the wall. I mean, I don't know, it's something that has to be seen. But then once the goo comes out of her body, you know, it's like, well, that's I don't know, that's death. You know, like it's green, white, you know, blood, and I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, is that it's a lot of questions. This movie's about questions, you know, and also I guess with the director dealing with the world he was living in and his divorce, I think artistically.
Right. And I mean, immediately the movie opens up and you're right at the Berlin Wall, right? Their apartment overlooks the Berlin Wall, which is a symbol of what? Of repression, right? Of being
definitely.
completely out of control. Like your life and your destiny are not your own. East Germany was a really, really fucked up place because there were snitches everywhere. It was so bad that when they, the wall came down, and it was like, okay, well, it's time to start locking up some of these motherfuckers in the Stasi, right? Who were like the East German secret police. And they were worse than the Gestapo. Because the Gestapo, this is what Germans would say. They were like, the Gestapo would break your bones. The Stasi would break your mind. And like, some of these people were clearly like war criminals, like time to lock them up. And then it's like they couldn't lock anybody up because if they were going to lock up everybody that was like, a snitch, it was like half the population. People were spying on their neighbors. It was, completely insane. Let me put it this way. It wasn't like Yugoslavia, right? Which was an Iron Curtain country, but you had like nude beaches and softcore pornography, right? Where it's like, or Spain, right? Which was, in name fascist, but really military dictatorship. But they're making like, Jess Franco movies and Paul Naschy movies, with these like hot, topless Spanish chicks. God damn, the Spanish chicks in the Spanish horror movies are so fucking hot.
Hey, dude, I'm gonna bounce on a little bit. So if I'm gone for like 15 minutes or so, I'll be back. Just letting you know if I cut off. I'll never
forgive you. We'll never forgive you, dude.
Pussy.
Pussy.
You know the deal, brother, man. Oh, look at this. This is like one of the video boxes. This really fucking gives
I know. Yeah, and you're sitting there like, what the fuck? You're like, what the fuck is that? Like when it's happening, you're trying to figure out what's going on, and she's just like, almost there.
Yep.
They're like, what the fuck?
Don't stop. Right there. Tentacle monster sex. And so I knew this was coming because I remember seeing a picture of it, and I think it couldn't have been Fangoria. It had to have been Cinefantastique, which was the American version of a French fanzine dedicated to fantastic cinema. So that's like science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And that was like the Rolls Royce of fantasy, science fiction, and horror magazines at that time. It was expensive, right? Like one issue, even back then, I think would be like, I don't know, sometimes like, $8, $15 or something like that. But you got this big, thick magazine. And with these in-depth stories, I've got the classic one that's about the making of The Thing. That's got like all Mike Plug's drawings in it and everything. But yeah, I saw a picture of this and I was like, okay, that looks pretty wild. So when it came to the video store, I watched it and I was like, but I could tell it had been fucked with. Back then, when they were a movie like Tenebrae, for instance, the Dario Argento movie that was released here under the title Unsane, and that was missing so much. That was missing because it's not like they would go in and be like, "Oh, well, this scene's a little stretched out. Let me just carefully remove this, right?" Like you could do that with like the Zack Snyder Justice League. You could knock an hour out of that movie, and it wouldn't hurt it even a little.
How dare you?
A little less slow motion, a little less slow motion. That scene with the chick sniffing the sweater, that can go. Do you know what I'm saying? They would just go in and they would just go. They would just.
You're kind of right. Like with Zack Snyder, like they could eliminate every part that the Flash had in there, and it would be the best movie ever.
Yeah, I mean, easily could have lost an hour. Easily,
especially when it looked like he was ice skating.
Oh, I know, flopping his arms around.
I can appreciate trying to consider a way somebody using the Speed Force would not run like a normal person, but that was not what I ever visualized.
I think that's how like gay runners look whenever.
I have to say, I was a little disappointed. Here's the thing about Ezra Miller. Total non sequitur. Here's the thing about Ezra Miller. He was becoming such a menace that I was starting to like him. where it was like, you know, you can go full circle with somebody. G.G. Allen was one of those people. It's like you found out who G.G. Allen was. You're like, this dude's a fucking scumbag. Absolute fucking filth, bottom of the barrel, bottom of the toilet, bottom of the sewer, what kind of a guy. But then you'd come full circle and you'd be like, actually, I think I kind of like him. Right? Nope. Ron Jeremy was like that too. It's like, I'm sick of looking at this guy. It's like he's in everything. And then you're like, I love this dude. He's in everything.
No,
Sergeant Miller was almost there, except for like the child endangerment shit. That's what ruined it for me.
I guess good for you, because I still refuse to watch anything concerning G.G. Miller. A friend of mine was a big fan of his, and I was like, no, man, that's disgusting. Nope.
It's like I said, it's like once you start bringing kids into this shit, that fucks everything up, because otherwise I found it actually a little amusing that he was like he was on a jet-setting crime spree, like a one-man crime wave. And I was hoping that like when the Flash bombed, that he would just go on another rampage, but I guess he was probably preparing to go on a rampage if it was a hit. Because then he'd be like, okay, I can get away with that. I can literally get away with murder now. They'll cover it all up. It'll be all right. But it wasn't meant to be.
After he lasers off the protester's face and the crowd cheers, like, yeah, I can get away with anything now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, he would have been the real life version of that. We're just looking at now, Bracey, have you seen Possession?
I just watched it today in full for the first time.
Oh my.
It's quite the experience. I've
Right?
seen pieces of it over the years, but this is my first time actually getting to really sit down and enjoy the full movie. And I'm glad that you posted the link, because all the other links to it I'd found on YouTube were like really small, and the quality was so awful that I just never bothered watching it.
Right. It's like I said, it's also on Shudder. Shudder, by the way, doesn't exist anymore. It's been folded into like AMC Plus, I think. I mean, the only reason I have a Shudder subscription anyway is just for Joe Bob Briggs. That's really the only thing to recommend about it. Tubi is a much better horror channel as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. I've seen a number of Shudder originals that I really dug.
No, they've had some good stuff. It's just kind of far and few in between.
Pretty awesome.
But like you said, this movie is an experience. It is one of those films that deliberately puts you through a ringer. But
what just feels too?
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. You finished, man. My bad.
No. Jump in. I hate just listening to myself talk.
I was going to say that, like,
until you talk.
I felt like
Preston.
all the cast members, they were like, I don't know, kind of like none of them were normal. Like they all felt alien in the movie. Like they were part of some other worldly thing. You know, basically every single character in the movie was like that. I also felt that the director had them overact to a certain degree. I don't know if that was to extract some of his mania into his art, but they're all manic, and every single person in this movie is a character. No one plays anything straight.
They're bizarre, right? Everybody is bizarre in some way.
Yeah,
especially Heinrich. Heinrich is yeah.
The only people acting even semi-normal are mostly just tangential characters that you run across, like
like his bosses,
like the school marm that looks exactly like his wife.
Yes,
or, same actress. Yeah.
Yes.
Mother is very normal compared to everybody else, or a couple of people in the background, but I figured that was just part of the Lovecraftian madness, that these people are so extreme. And and then Heinrich is a weird German hippie guy. He's way out
outer space.
Like Johnny Depp,
outer
you know.
Space, man. He's not from Germany.
He's from outer
space.
I would even go so far as to say that even the periphery characters, if you really study them, even the mother of the adulterer, she's even a little out there. And then the guys, let's just say MI6, like, so are you going to join us? Who's going to be your replacement? Like they're really overact. Like every single character is laying it on a little thick, in my opinion.
Yes, and it's very deliberate.
It definitely feels like a very mad world. So you're left with the idea of the what do you call it? The unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
You can never really 100% trust anybody in the film. Their point of view. Everything's a little skewed to very skewed.
Yeah, the unreliable narrator, by the way, of course, created by our very own Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm.
The characters in this are definitely turned up to 11. And it's interesting because I remember reading a review of it. It was, oh God, do I have that book handy? It's called Fantastic Films and Illustrated Survey. And I had read all these bad reviews of this movie because even though it was like really well received at the Cannes Film Festival, it wasn't when it was like given a wide release, when it was given a theatrical release. And then, of course, the home video release had just been graped, just took a whole half hour.
People aren't ready for aren't ready for trips. Like they're not ready for Mandy and this type of movie. You know what I mean? Like,
no, they're not.
It's an experience. They're like either are or they're not. And back then it's probably even worse.
Yeah,
Yes.
Joe and Jane Normal are not the audience for this film.
Right.
The thing about Mandy is that I think when you do those grindhouse type horror movies, like you're walking a razor's edge of making it either great or shit. You know what I'm saying?
But that's not a grindhouse horror movie. That's in this genre. That's in the art house horror movie genre.
But it does kind of feel like it. Mandy does kind of feels like Hope with a shotgun in a lot of ways. But this Mandy was also by the guy who did Beyond the Black Rainbow, which is very art house, very dreamy.
Yes, very Cronenbergian. And what's great about Cosmatos is that Beyond the Black Rainbow, that's like sort of like his Cronenberg movie, but you're like, there's nothing that you can say like, oh, he took this from Cronenberg. You just watch it and you think to yourself, wow, this guy really likes David Cronenberg. And then after Mandy, I was like, oh, this guy really, really likes David Lynch.
I think in terms of Beyond the Black Rainbow, I always got a bit more of a Suspiria vibe from it, just because of
interesting.
The visuals are more important than narrative, and
for sure,
and the fact that he's just it's like, in the color palette, it's so extreme, it's so unnatural, but like I just love that movie to pieces.
Yes. That's one thing people don't pay attention. I think it's new movie makers don't really pay attention to stuff like that. Is that you got to start out with a color palette? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And
the
look,
lighting,
the world of the film.
Palette, all of that is super important.
For all the flack Quentin Tarantino got as a guy who's like, oh, he's homaging this and homaging that. That guy studied film. Like, he studied a lot of film by a lot of people. Like,
he sure.
He worked in a movie store, didn't he, or something?
Video store. He worked in like the LA version of Kim's Video. Kim's Video was a video store chain. There were 3 of them in the East and the West Village when I was living there. And Kim's Video, there's a documentary about Kim's Video, by the way, because what happened was the guy, Mr. Kim, he shut down all the video stores, and that video collection went someplace, and the documentary is about trying to hunt that collection down, because there were so many people that were living in the city in that time that had memberships to those stores, all 3 of them. And that's where we discovered so many of our favorite films. That's where we found so many movies that we had read about, that we'd heard about, but that you could never get a hold of. So that meant a lot of bootleg shit. And they were always getting in trouble for that. They would get raided by the cops for that shit sometimes. And this was one of those movies. How did I first see it in its full, like, unmolested form? Fucking Japanese Laserdisc with the hard-coded Japanese subtitles and everything. Yeah. That was the only way you could get hold of stuff like this now. Now you can just hop on YouTube and watch this movie, which is awesome and amazing. It means that anybody that's curious about this type of cinema, they're not going to have to struggle to find the stuff that they want to find. That they're going to have relatively easy access to it, at least for the time being.
I was so pleased with the quality of this that they'd stepped up the HD. The only thing that was lacking for me is the audio quality was still a bit subpar, but other than that,
right,
it was great to see it like this.
Right. I mean, the best way to watch this movie, I would imagine, would be in the cinema. But the best I've seen it is the Criterion collection transfer of this. Like the 2K is phenomenal. Isabella Johnny, of course, smoking fucking hot. One of the hottest women in movies at this time. And for a while, too. I mean, Queen Margot was in what? I think like 97, 98. And I think she was well into her 40s, and she was still smoking hot. And she put on some weight, but it went to all the right places. It was just like, oh, god damn. Zalowski has, I heard an interview with him, because I haven't seen her in decades. And evidently she got all this really bad plastic surgery.
Oh.
Yeah. And he said it was terrible. Last time I saw her, she looked like a monster. It's like this beautiful woman. She turned herself into a monster. And of course, being a guy that makes weird horror movies like this, he found that fascinating.
Well, it's terrible, the pressure.
And tragic.
Because as a woman, especially, your shelf life is so much shorter than a man's when it comes to cinema and entertainment, and the need to do all this stuff yourself. And you remember, what was her name? Was it Erin Gray from Dirty Dancing?
Yeah, she got a nose job, and then nobody could recognize her.
Yeah, there she was, her career just starting to take off, and then all of a sudden she was nobody again.
Sherilyn Fenn. I remember just thinking oh my God, what the hell did you do to your face, honey? Or look at the chick on The Boys, Erin Moriarty.
Well, she says that she never got anything done.
Okay,
she said that it was makeup.
That's bullshit. Yeah, okay.
Season, you can see her cheeks are nice and full, and now her cheeks aren't. And I guess at that point, I'm like, what the hell happened to me?
Well, now,
wait, what did you do to your face, honey? You looked fine.
Well, the current season, I binged the whole season. I don't really notice a difference from her face from this season.
It was disturbing, dude. It actually distracted me.
One thing I did notice was it felt like she was loaded throughout the whole, a few of those episodes. It was like her speech was slurring, and she was kind of
I think it's
trying to get the words out. I was like,
dude, I think that's because of the Botox or whatever they shot into her face. Because
it could be, but it almost felt like she was high.
Maybe she was
really fucked up.
Maybe she was.
Just saying,
maybe she was.
Has anybody heard what happened to Mother's Milk? Because again, there's somebody whose face was very full, very round.
I think he got on that shot. Because I didn't even recognize him when I seen him in this current. He lost a ton of weight, dude.
Yeah. He said,
does he have cancer? Man.
Well, he never bulked up either.
He said,
people on that shot, dude, they it's almost like they deflate. You know what I'm saying?
Can I get some of that shot? Some of that shit, by the way.
You don't want it, dude. I'm telling you, because it does some weird shit to you. Your face looks like it's just you lose weight so quickly, you just got loose skin. Dude,
he looks 20 years older.
Yeah, I know, dude. I know people on that shot, and it's the same deal. They look really old, because they,
So there's a price to pay. It's like a Faustian bargain.
Absolutely, but just saying that shot's going crazy in Hollywood, everybody's taking it now. Yeah.
Yeah, don't blame them. You have to. I mean, I remember Patton Oswalt, who's a piece of shit who throws his friends under the bus. But
I can't stand Patton Oswalt.
He said he was at this party, and that there was this amazing buffet, all just tons and tons of amazing food, and nobody was touching it because everybody there is lean and cut, and just fucking. And he was just and he was loading his plate full of this amazing food.
Why not?
And Brian Dennehy looks at him and says, "Character actors, huh? Who gives a fuck if we're fat?"
There you go, Brian Dennehy.
Just loaded up his plate. Fuck it, we could do that. James Hurley says, "Brian, they are remaking the shitty ass
Dreamcatcher. They're remaking Dreamcatcher."
Sorry, I kept trying to.
That was terrible fucking.
What are they making a remake of?
Dreamcatcher.
The
shit we.
Yeah, well, I mean that's late. That's late Stephen King. Late Stephen King. Look, that's Stephen King at the point in his career where he was just cannibalizing old work, right? And I have, mad crazy respect for Stephen King. The man is a legend. The man is an icon. The man is an American treasure in many respects. One of the great horror writers of the 20th century.
You read a lot of Stephen King?
Yes.
A lot.
Have you read any of Joe Hill's work, his son?
Yeah.
You know what? No, I haven't.
Because I'll be straight with you.
Yeah.
He surpassed his dad on a lot of those novels. Like Heart-Shaped Box. Oh my God.
I don't
dude.
think he surpassed it.
Heard that that's
early
good.
to mid work. I feel like Steve lost a step after he got hit by that van. He wasn't quite where he was, but like Joe Hill's, like it's interesting because you can tell he grew up with Stephen King, but because there are certain commonalities in their style, but he's still his own man. Like when I read things like Horns, is like, man, this guy's got the chops.
Dude, Horns was Horns, Fireman, Heart-Shaped Box, all that stuff was like amazing. And I was like I've never been like Stephen King was good. I like his movies more than I like his novels. But when I read Joe Hill's work, like it catches you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And what was that other one?
I'm loving it.
Nosferatu. That was fucking sick, son.
Oh, I know that there's a series, but I haven't. Like I said, I haven't read any of Joe Hill's.
The book is way better than the series.
I think the only thing I've ever read by him was his comic book series, Lock and Key.
Oh,
I've never read that.
Too. Yeah.
Lock and Key is good. Check out the Cape sometime as well.
Okay.
And I've also read the short story that the comic series was based off of.
Yeah.
And both are quite excellent. Watching somebody who gets some power and goes to the head, but it's kind of interesting because he uses the same device twice. The one that he uses in Horns, the bad guy a normal person gets a brain injury, and that's what makes him into a bad guy. So that was a little bit repetitive, but at the same time, you're like, the story's so fascinating, I kind of let that slide.
Right. Yeah, no, good storytellers can do that. And, Brandon Cronenberg is kind of like that too, because he's somebody that is clearly influenced by his father's work, but is trying to do his own thing.
Yeah.
I can imagine that it must be very intimidating as an artist to, be the son of Stephen King or Richard Matheson. That would be tough.
Yeah. I mean, like you imagine like a poor Brian Herbert, like the fans of Frank's work or like of the Dune series, he poor guy gets so much flack. He's like, you're just not as good as your dad. It's like, hey, I'm just doing what I can, Yes,
exactly. Or Lamberto Bava. I always felt bad for these cats, man, because it's just like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
right.
Like if your parent was somebody who was really good, but no, like, oh, my parent happens to be a big legend. Great.
Right. Well, it's kind of like also like with the Japanese, like one of the movies I always recommend to my fellow comic book creators, Jiro Dreams of Sushi. If you are a comic creator, watch this movie. If you're thinking, well, it's about sushi, right? No, it's not about sushi. It's about this guy whose father is the greatest sushi chef in the world. He's been working in the same restaurant that he owns, which is a little tiny hole in the wall in a train station, right? And it's considered the world's greatest restaurant. And he's considered the world's greatest sushi chef. So his son is a sushi chef as well. But in Japan, you're not supposed to be as good as your father. You're supposed to be better.
Right.
Every generation is supposed like that. That's a very Asian thing, right? You see that in the Kung Fu movies sometimes. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty good, but you should see my student. My student like whipped my ass the other day. They're proud of that shit because it's just like, yeah, that's how awesome I am. He's even better than I am. And that's how you have to, yeah.
It's progression of the art. That's what they want.
Yes. But imagine that kind of fucking pressure.
Yeah.
Right? Because what if you just don't have it? And then, of course, there's no way people aren't going to make comparisons.
Yeah, that's like when Mushu steps out, like dishonor on your whole family, dishonor on your family's family.
Yeah, fuck that, man. Right, and because it's just it would be a less than ideal situation as an artist, I would think. At the same time, it's also going to get your foot in the door, right? Like Brandon Lee, for instance, he knew that, like, you know, he wouldn't have gotten parts if they didn't know that he was Bruce Lee's son. At the same time, it's like, you're fucking Bruce Lee's son. Like, what the fuck?
Hey,
that's another guy where it's just like, oh, god damn it.
When I was when I went out to be decided to be an artist, like, for a living, one thing I decided was that I was never going to try to step into, like, my uncle's field. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a professional artist, but he was a wildlife artist. And I was like, I'm not even interested in that shit. I don't want to have anything to do. It was like, I'm going to go completely sci-fi.
Right, going hard in the opposite direction.
Exactly.
And yeah, Brandon Lee was a very talented actor.
Yes,
but
he
at
was.
the same time, there are a lot of talented actors who were, you know, shit out of luck that we never even hear about.
I think Brandon Lee kind of did that because he kind of went the opposite way of his, like, he started out going in the same direction as his dad as far
That's
as
all they
like
were
action
given.
movies.
Yeah,
but
that's all
then,
they were given.
but then he got The Crow. You know what I'm saying? That was like
Yes.
a dark fantasy, and it's completely different than anything like you know, his dad ever did.
Because that character has different sides to him, right? That there are moments where he's a lunatic. There are moments where he's grieving. There are moments where he's enraged.
Exactly.
That film was going to open up so many opportunities for him.
I know.
Oh, absolutely. It showed how much range he had. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and for people who complain about sequels and remakes, fact of the matter is, he had signed, I think, for 2 or 3 movies. So, I mean, I agree that the Eric Draven character should be retired.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't make more Crow movies.
Exactly.
I think they always signed him for multiple.
Even James O'Barr came in and pinned a couple of Crow stories after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like Vincent Perez, the guy that replaced him for City of Angels, he had signed. He and Mia Kirshner, who dies at the end of City of Angels, was supposed to come back in the sequel, and then they were like, oh, this isn't going to have a sequel, so we have to change the ending. And that's one of the reasons why that movie feels sometimes like a trailer for a really movie. Because post-production fuckery and editing, that's a movie I always wanted to see a director's cut of, because it's like Nightbreed was one of those movies where you could just tell this got you know, bad editing when you see it. You know, when
I think I'd like to see a remake of Nightbreed, though. You know what I'm saying?
I would too. Actually, you know, Clive Barker is going to be at this convention in New Jersey this weekend.
I think they got the technology to do it justice now.
Oh, definitely. Although I'm a big fan.
I think
I'm a big fan of creature features with like the prosthetics and the rubber suits and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Give Clive Barker good CGI, having viewed his personal artwork.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him bring some of that to the screen.
You know, when CGI works in with traditional makeup and prosthetics, it's magic. Like with 13 Ghosts, you know.
Yeah,
like that was amazing.
Master of that.
Well, have you guys ever seen the British werewolf movie Howl?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the alpha male werewolf is this big guy. You know, he's got the muscle suit, or he's just that friggin' huge. I'm thinking muscle suit. He's definitely got some stuff built up. But basically the lower half of his face was CGI'd, so they put the prosthetic on him, but to get the expression they wanted out of the face, they didn't rely on animatronics because it was so tight to his face. They just CGI'd that, and it works together seamlessly in the film.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That stuff looks great. Yeah, CGI is always best when you don't notice it, when it doesn't really call attention to itself. That's what I've always believed. And of course, it's perfect for things that aren't organic. You know,
Weinstein really
that's what I heard. He ruined a lot of movies. Actually, there's a lot of stories about him fucking movies up in post production.
Who's that?
Harvey Weinstein.
It's so weird because
Mr. Me Too.
He championed a lot of films that wouldn't have got made otherwise, but then the other point is he ruined a lot of films.
Yep.
He was a spiteful prick too.
I think he banged Matt Damon. I'm almost
He
positive.
banged everybody.
I'm Matt Damon.
Oh shit. Matt Damon.
Matt
All
Damon.
right, real quick, let me show the trailer here. I think Matt Damon.
I'm going to tell you why
This
half of Hollywood is fucked up mentally, and that's because they fucked Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, you know what's funny is there's a lot of people that got into porn, right? As performers, as actors, who came from like the New York City theater world, and they were trying to break into movies. And like some of them were like, yeah, it's like, the guy was like, they weren't just doing couch test casting for the women, they were doing it for the guys too, right? Like you have to suck the D. And
I heard that happens in the rap community too.
What was that?
Like there's a few rappers that came out and said that they had to,
Oh, for sure.
And they had to perform at parties and stuff with other dudes.
Gargling fucking P. Diddy's balls.
Dude, I was watching a round table and one of the rappers was like, everybody knows we had to do it. And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If I can find that video, dude.
Should they start sweating?
Dude, it was horrible. It was great. I was laughing my ass off.
And you watch the first 2 seasons of the Boondocks, and they were telling the real deal on that shit.
I mean,
yeah,
one day me and Matt are going to tell our story about how we had to work with Brian.
Yep.
How we got the gig with Brian.
Man, I got carte blanche.
Damn it, Brian.
Matt's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know nothing. All right, here is the trailer for Possession. I believe that this is not the original trailer. I think this is like for the like the 2K or 4K transfer or something like that.
They sure put a lot of context in this lady, I tell you.
Oh, for sure. And Isabella Johnny, of course, you remember her as Mina Harker in Nosferatu, the Herzog version.
Right, with Klaus Kinski. Yeah.
I've completed my job.
That's why we want to rehire you.
That's like one of the great shots in that movie.
Question. What would be the reason for your refusal? Family.
Maybe all couples go through this.
You have someone.
Yes.
Do you sleep with him?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the new trailer. It's showing like positive reviews. All these positive reviews you're seeing here, you didn't see that when this movie first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like the world's most depressing view. You'd rather have like a view out your window of like a brick wall than that.
I would think this movie got him like exposed, like he's like, dude, this is such a Sam Neill movie, after just seeing, like this is the road to Jurassic Park, all the horror that he had to go through and with Carpenter and this and
he blew up. He blew up.
Well,
he's such good horror.
For me, is like watching him as in the Omen 3, as a adult Damien. That's where Sam Neill first popped in my radar.
Well, if this is what it took for him to do Event Horizon, I'm totally good with it.
I remember seeing him in a movie that was from New Zealand, because like around the time that Australia was starting to make movies, and their little indie cinema slapped. That's where we got Peter Weir. That's where we got the Mad Max movies, George Miller, and all that shit. So Australian cinema was fucking getting really, really good. So New Zealand was trying to catch up, and they couldn't quite. And I remember seeing him in a science fiction movie that was from New Zealand that was very mid. That's like the first thing I saw him in.
Most epic line in all cinema came from New Zealand, like, "Oh, I kick ass for the Lord."
Yeah,
that's one of them.
For the Lord.
That's one of them.
How long is it gonna last?
I don't know.
When I'm away from you, I think of you as an animal or a woman possessed, and then I see you again, and all this disappears. something you could just switch from channel to channel. Who is he?
So many fucking crazy, unhinged scenes in this. Whenever the two of them are on the screen together, shit gets tense.
Yeah.
Right? Johnny said that Zalowski is the kind of director that you only work with once.
Makes sense. It's like an Eggers.
Well,
yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah, like everything she was asked to do for this film.
It wasn't a diss. It wasn't a diss. It wasn't a diss on her part, right?
She don't want to go on
the fucking won, multiple awards for Best Actress.
I can imagine people who work with Kubrick having the same opinion. It's like, I'm glad I was a part of it. This is going to go down in cinematic history, but I'm done.
All right.
Yeah, he is kind of going
5,000.
I guarantee you they were saying that after The Shining.
Yeah. Just 101 more takes.
In his contract,
Jesus, could you
It's
imagine?
like a tour of
that?
duty,
Oh,
right? It's like being in the
stupid.
fucking military in a fucking war
Retarded.
zone. By the way, did you notice that this movie is clearly, at least partly, the inspiration for Hellraiser?
I was
see
thinking
some stuff. Yeah, definitely. 100%.
For sure.
Parallels. Mm-hmm.
Electric knife.
Watching some of these scenes, and I just was kind of waiting for like that gelatinous mass of a man to like look up, like, "Come to daddy, Kirsty."
Right?
Right. They just say something cheesy or something. It doesn't happen.
No, because that's like the one part of the movie that is serious. Because as much as there's like humor in this movie, it's also really, really dark.
Like for me, the funny part was that fight scene. That was like the funny part. But like
hilarious.
For me, like it's hard. Like for me, it was really hard to pick out the humor in this movie. To be honest with you, Brian, that fight scene for sure, and then like the adulterer, like he was hilarious for me, anyways.
I don't know if it was. I don't know if it's the actor, or if because he seemed to know.
He's so bizarre.
Choreography, but like when he leans over with his hand in this Dr. Evil pose, and then he's grabbing his foot with the other hand. I was like, what kind of weird fighting style is this?
Yeah,
I know.
Hilarious.
Is this like Tai Chi? It's not. It's really, really peculiar.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
there you
I've
go.
never seen hands like that in a kung fu movie, in an anime, in a manga, nowhere.
No.
Like that.
No.
He looks like that televangelist with the crazy eyes, dude.
I know what that is, guys. I know what that is.
Yep.
I know what that is. It's ballet do.
Yeah, right. You got that.
Dude,
you nailed it, Pops.
Is that a ballet thing?
This, and he went from ballet to martial arts.
Yeah.
I'm part of a
fucking strength, man. It's like that's
part of
the joke. Like people leaping through the air and landing on their toes.
I'm part of a group on Facebook. It's called Dark Fucking Art, gallery or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that fucking preacher is all over the place in there.
Oh yeah.
And did you guys notice like the picture? The dude in the picture's also grabbing his leg.
Yeah.
He's also
because it's a dancer. He's got dancers on.
That's his art.
Very, very fucking strange.
I heard that some science or sorry, what were you saying?
An actor, he's a dancer. That's why he can move so well.
Oh yeah,
I said
like Patrick
it's
Swayze.
ballet do. That's what it is.
There was some like psychiatrists or something, some shrinks that were like diagnosing this movie. I heard, and they were saying that the scenes that had the actual monsters in them, that was just they weren't really there. That was just part of their psyche. But I'm just like, dude, this is a whole other world, man. Like you're dealing with like it's a different universe as far as I'm concerned.
There could be something to that because when you get to the finale when the police shoot because it looks like he's about to shoot his wife because I got the impression they didn't even see the Sam Neill clone. He doesn't get
the doppelgangers.
Doppelganger, yeah. I was just about to start talking about that.
But they if they were trying to save the woman, they killed them both.
Right.
But that's the thing. about horror. Like, those are people that don't understand that the whole point of horror as a genre is that you can take the symbolic and give it flesh.
Right.
Yeah.
Like in The Brood, those little monsters, they're literally the creatures of that woman's rage.
Right.
They're literally the children of her rage.
You know, you think of Cronenberg's Videodrome, praise the new flesh kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And then towards the end, the bombs start going off, right? Like at the very last scene, and the doppelganger of Sam Neill's trying to come in into the house, and the kid goes and looks like he offs himself in the bathtub, possibly.
Well, he jumps into the bathtub, I think, because that's what you're supposed to do. Like if there's like a nuclear holocaust.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And the kid was left alone for like 3 weeks, right? He was just surviving in the house because the dad was in rehab, and then the mom was off fucking, doing their tentacle porn or whatever.
Because you have the type of film is possession, but you've also got to take like obsession into that. Like
of course,
it kind of works because clearly so many people, the mains in this film are obsessed with one another.
Yep.
And it was weird because towards the end, I think Sam Neill's. I think there was a doppelganger, but at some point I'm also thinking like, oh,
monster.
Is it a monster because Sam Neill was turning into him psychologically and as well as the aura, like he was on his side. They were teaming up,
Yeah, and there was another doppelganger, and there's another doppelganger in this too.
Yeah, her. Yeah, she's right there. She's already around, right?
Right, and what I love, and to me, this was something that I thought was funny, but
seeing her is like
if you put it in context, right? Francois Truffaut had done the same thing with Julie Christie in his screen adaptation of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, right?
Oh, okay.
So this isn't the first movie where you have an actress that's playing two different characters. It's not acknowledged usually. And in this, he goes up to her and he's just like, and I'm thinking that's what's going to happen here. And he's like, wait a second, what? Why are you wearing this wig? So that's kind of like a little bit of a joke, I think, that a lot of people understandably miss.
I took it like this because as you see, they're starting to have a relationship as he lets go of his wife. As he becomes more sane, she becomes more insane. And he's starting to have a romance with her. Obviously, if this woman looks like his wife and she acts all tender, then he can glom onto this. But it's almost like this is where his wife's sanity kind of went,
right?
Because this film can be deeply metaphysical.
Yes, and also it has to do with the notion that in our romantic lives, a lot of us make really bad decisions. And one of the bad decisions that we make is that we keep going after the same type of person.
Yeah, that's true.
Over and over and over again. This is why I developed my no goth chicks dating rule.
Well, what I did was after I got my divorce, I was like, I don't want to ever go through this bullshit again. So I made it. I took a piece of paper and I made a list of everything I hated about that motherfucker. and that was on one. I'm dead serious. And on the other side, I made a list of everything I was looking for. And if anybody showed even one hint of what was on that other list, it was out of there. That was it.
You got on your cell phone. You just like took a picture of it.
Exactly.
Just pull it out all the time.
That's one of the things I like about online dating too, is because it's like a grocery store. You can see everything on there.
Checking out like Santa.
Exactly. You laughed, dude, but it worked. Yeah.
No, it's a good idea.
You have results. You have empirical data.
Absolutely.
One thing about
because I was warned about that. They were like, everybody, like whenever you get a divorce, you get out of a relationship, 90% of the time you fall right back into the same relationship.
The same motherfucker.
This motherfucker.
Yeah, and it might have something to relate to your dad or your mom, depending on if you're a boy or a girl.
Well, you know what I kind of thought it was? I thought it was like you're so used to being in that type of relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That you unconsciously look for it.
Familiarity. Right. That's why people have types. You know, you have a type that you're already somewhat attracted to. You know, you might be predisposed to certain things. Like I always find myself approaching women who didn't need a lot of makeup. I preferred like the natural beauty.
Me too.
So that's something I sort of lean into. But yeah, you know, like it's like having comfort food. It's like, oh, you know, this was bad. But like, what do I want? I want another plate of steak and mashed potatoes, because steak and mashed potatoes makes me feel pretty good, even if that one was like, you know, too raw or too bloody or something.
Right.
Comfort food.
My rules are way simpler than that, guys. As soon as it quits having fun, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm trying to have a good time. You know, or you don't want to have fun. Bye.
You don't want to.
Life is too short to suffer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, I know me, and me doesn't do good by himself. So I'm just
at what is all right, let's take a look at what is probably the most famous scene in this movie.
Okay.
This is, in my opinion, the greatest movie on-screen meltdown of all time. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I think so, yeah. One thing I like about this movie, though, is they didn't go down the Antichrist baby. I thought that's what this whole thing was, you know, and like, don't let it be the Antichrist baby. You know what I mean? It's, you know, I mean, you can still kind of look at it, but it's not.
Yep. No, it's way more original than that.
Yep.
Like I said, there's nothing quite like this.
Like, this would be a good movie to see in the theater, like, at least once, you know?
I would love to. Actually, a real quick story about this movie. There's this chick in Canada called Kayla Janice, and she's a writer on horror, and so the kind of chick I would love to date, right? That I know would be bad for me, right? Where I'd be like, I don't ever want to meet this chick. I don't ever want to meet her, right? Because she's kind of hot and would be bad news for me. She said she did a film festival, a horror movie film festival, in I think I forget exactly where in Canada. And one of the movies she showed, because it's one of her favorite films and one that she writes about a lot, is this movie. And one of the people that came out of the cinema was a young man, and he was just like offended. He was like, that's like the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm offended that you screened that, and you just fucking you know, let her have it. And then he was just pissed. And the next day he comes back for the next day of the film festival, and he tells her, yeah, I think that's my new favorite movie.
That's funny.
You know, funny story. When I used to do work for the D-Day Museum, like they had a like a cinema inside of it, right? And I don't know whose decision it was to put all the Nazi memorabilia right outside of the cinema as soon as you walk out.
What?
So people would go in there and they would watch these horrors, like they would perpetrate like live fucking footage. I mean, like real footage. Then they would come out and they would be so angry they would destroy the fucking.
Now, you see, that would be fine if you were like showing Shockwaves. Right? Like some good Nazi horror movie or good Nazi zombie movie.
Yeah,
right.
Like Science Army or something cool like that.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's just like, you know, Nicolas Cage looks at this scene and goes, damn.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I've dated her 3 or 4 times.
Right?
But, you know, it's funny to say that because I think she had to plug out Nicolas Cage's character. I wonder how many takes this took.
This is one of those scenes, and this doesn't happen often in cinema. This is one of those scenes where I feel afraid for the actor.
Yeah, me too.
Sure as hell going for it.
You have a gallon of milk in the bag?
Hot and crazy, just like I like them.
Did you?
TikTok is one.
And this goes
Dude.
on for like fucking 3 minutes.
The only other scene I ever seen that intense, like that intense, where I was like, this motherfucker's really having a breakdown,
Right.
was the final episode of Shogun, right? From the original Shogun. You remember? Did anybody see that?
Yeah.
Where one of his men,
way back.
yeah, well,
way back.
he's blonde and he has one of his, and he's like, the monkeys are coming to chop off our heads, you know, and he was fucking, and he just lost it, dude. Like that was some intense, but it was like this, like it was that intense, like it was. And what was the white shit in her purse? Like, was that milk?
Yeah.
It looked like a combination of milk and flour, like she was gonna bake a cake because some of it disperses in the air like that. Yeah, the wicker.
It's like the joke around the story. At some point, you have to pull your eyes away from it.
It's like he just doesn't give a shit anymore. He just takes all the crazy roles, and I love him for it.
Yup. Oh no, he's a fucking legend. He's a fucking legend
Dude,
and
like,
an icon.
You know, Willy's Wonderland is
Oh, dude, that was amazing.
I think this is the possession right here, bro.
Right.
The actual
Right.
possession.
If
I
you
think
just
this is the
happen to be
theme.
going, if you just happen to be going to the subway, to the metro, you'd be thinking like, somebody call a priest.
Well, that's another interesting thing about this film is you'll notice so many people, like all this extreme shit happens, and people in the background, they're like the adults in Derry, Maine, where it is. They all just kind of ignore it. They all just let this shit happen. Nobody's really paying attention. It's like these people are in their own special little bubble of crazy, and nobody else steps into it.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it also felt like the Hellboy books. You know, like, oh, where's your soul at? Oh, I'm gonna go find my soul. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's very nonchalant. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Once again, horror.
Mm-hmm.
It's the perfect genre for exploring these kinds of emotions.
I like here because he
stone
says, like, when I'm
walls?
thinking about you, sometimes I think about you like a possessed animal in the street, and here she is looking very possessed with these very animalistic movements to her.
What I think she's getting. That's what I think, right? I think she's getting raped by the demon, and it's killing
It
her
also
kids,
seems like,
and it's impregnating her and it's killing the kids that are in her, and it's impregnating her and raping her at the same time. That's possessing
That's
her.
really interesting.
So that's all
That's
that's
really
what I think's happening.
Yeah, that kind of.
Interesting. Because we are like, I mean, you know, when I talk about art house horror, one of the masters of that genre is David Lynch, right?
Oh yeah.
I totally agreed with Jim Jarmusch, where, you know, people ask him, what do you think is the best horror movie of the year? And he was just like, oh, it was that last season of Twin Peaks. And I was like, thank you.
I mean, the sexual component. Okay, now this is going to sound funny.
Slime
coming out of her
But
back, you know.
Here's
down
where
her
it
neck.
gets weird to me because I got the slime coming out of her mouth, and then when it finally started spilling out from between her legs, I got that
But
too.
it's
But
coming
then
out like,
it starts coming from around her neck, like it's coming out of her
Yes.
ears.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, is
That's
she
why I
just
kind of gave
spitting stuff?
my hypothesis.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my hypothesis. You know, all those things were
It's a
happening. at
very
once.
good one.
And so, with that being said, that's probably why she didn't want to come back and do another movie with them again. Sign me up for another one. Like, I want to get, raped, and I want my babies to die and then get impregnated by a demon.
Right.
One scene.
Well, she said it was, it's not that Zalowski was like some kind of an ogre. It was just he was just intense. He was demanding like intensity from his actors, and expected them to take themselves to a place that is not a healthy place.
It's mania. He wanted them to share in mania, his mania, and they did.
Yes.
No, because that's what some actors have to do to get it out of them. Like Kevin Smith has talked about, he likes to write scripts that make Ben Affleck cry, because he finds it fascinating that he has to take himself mentally to a very dark place to get tears to come out of his eyes. Right. So he always likes to write shit like that in just to study the process as he's going through it.
Right. I mean, my God, both she and Sam Neill give like 110%, but especially her.
Yeah.
My God.
For me, this movie wasn't scary; it was intriguing. Like, oh shit! Like in a lot of just like awestruck moments, But not at one point, and it was funny, and like, I mean, he was funny,
hysterical.
But I didn't find anything else really funny, that I could think of off the top of my head. Just that guy, Heinrich.
Heinrich. Yeah, Heinrich.
Oh yeah, then after he's seen the monster, we know that he's seen the monster. He goes to Sam Neill, but we haven't seen the monster yet. And like this very, very Heinrich, this very, very strange guy, is behaving very, very strangely.
It's like the horror version of Born Identity.
What I think is very funny to start with, because like Heinrich, obviously is German, but like his outlook on a lot of things are so very German, so very European. When Sam first encounters him, was like, there is no need that we cannot be polite. We will discuss this as men. And I have given them pleasure, and I let her do that whole spiel he gives him, and he's weirdly homoerotic at the same time. He keeps trying to fall.
Yes.
Feel like maybe he wants a threesome, like Heinrich.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
just something else entirely.
Yeah. Hey, come on, join us. It's like, I like banging your wife. There's no reason why.
But then, like later on, when
you in there,
when he finds out where Anna is, he's basically claiming like he's date raped her. Is like, don't resist me. I'm stronger than you. It's like, oh, is this
totally.
Before? She's into that, huh?
Right. Just very, 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 like I said, and in this scene, he's just acting so strange.
Well, I took it that he was like really drunk here, or maybe like you find out
later.
On drugs.
I took it that he was going mad,
because he always had that sack of drugs. Remember, he had that sack of drugs. Remember when Samuel murders him? He murders him, and he has the drugs on him, so he's completely on drugs right now.
Right. So he's seen the monster because he's trying to tell him about the monster.
No, he hasn't seen the monster yet because he hasn't got the blood on him. She hasn't stabbed him.
This when he went to his house.
He wears white after he kicks Sam Neill's ass. So like I think initially they have him in black because you're not supposed to like Heinrich. He has stolen away this man's wife, and we don't know all these other.
Oh no, he's a piece of shit.
But after Anna has basically left the both of them, they dress Heinrich in white to make him more sympathetic. Now he's like more of a victim, and you'll see sort of the same thing with Sam Neill. He starts off wearing these dark clothes, and you think like, well, maybe the husband is a little too possessive, a little too aggressive, a little this, and then as you realize like, okay, Anna is off the loop. What does he do? He starts stripping off the suit. He starts wearing the light colored shirts. He's all of a sudden in light colors as well. So you get a shift in tone for both these characters.
Right. I misremembered. He when he shows up at Sam Neill's place and starts acting really bizarre, it's because now she's kind of kicked him to the curb.
Yeah.
And so now he's going crazy. Now he's experiencing like the same kind of insanity. But
that
of course,
PI is horrible. PI.
Because he knows there's another guy. It's like what neither of them know is that the other guy is a tentacle monster.
That PI was a horrible PI, dude. I just got to say. He's like Homer Simpson, dude. He's like, I'm a window inspector coming through. Window inspector. He's like,
up too, because he
and his boyfriend was a horrible PI.
Cool. I like the scene where like you can see his reflection. He's following her in the store by being outside the store. I was like, that was a pretty slick move. And then as the scene plays out, he becomes so freaking obvious that a blind person like, dude, why are you following me?
Trying to inspect the windows, hunt me down.
One of the things also that I have to say is awesome about having this like in super high res is in the home video version of this from ages ago, you couldn't get a really good look at the monster.
Yeah.
And here you get a really good look at the monster.
Yeah.
And like that one eyeball hanging out on the side,
leaking at
just
you,
focusing in on him.
It's pretty
there. It
pretty
is.
Trippy. Reminded me of that movie Splice a little bit too. I don't know if you guys seen Splice. That was
dude, Splice was badass.
I put these two in the same genre of subgenre.
Really? All right.
Yeah,
I mean, they're different, but I mean, it's definitely similar. Yeah, and a lot like
check it out.
Now, how much does this look like a frame from Hellraiser?
Right?
Like Frank.
Yeah, that does actually.
Yeah, this was a definite influence on.
But and there's the thing, like the more victims she brings this guy, the more it assembles itself into a human.
Like Hellraiser.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
exactly like Hellraiser.
Exactly like Hellraiser. Yep.
Yeah.
So clearly he saw this movie and being, a sick freak himself, absolutely identified with it and loved it and sought to emulate it.
If you're a fan of Barker's work, and I've read a lot of his books, and I've read his original Books of Blood, his collection of short stories.
This came out.
He would so be into this because not only is it grotesque and body horror and horrific, but it's also very sexual, and that's a big theme in all of his works.
Right.
Oh my God, yeah, it is. Yeah,
my favorite movie, dude. Yes, my favorite movie.
Yeah. No, that would be a good guess. Like I said, there's a horror convention. I don't know if I'm going to it. I might go to it tomorrow. Where that's got a Hellraiser reunion, and who's showing up or who's scheduled to show up? Everybody.
Nice.
I mean, everybody.
That's cool.
All the Cenobites, Ashley Lawrence, who still looks cute, and Clive Barker. I know that Mr. Barker has not been in ideal health. That's why it's highly unlikely that we're going to get any more films from him. As far as I'm concerned,
I was wondering,
don't
given
deserve any more movies from him. Because
his voice had changed over the years. I was like, man, this guy's gonna have throat cancer. I bet he smokes like a chimney.
Oh, he was always smoking cigars.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, well, it's like, oh, well, you're smoking a cigar. It's not like you're inhaling.
Like when I got my...
Dude, that is the worst misconception.
I know.
So many people got cancer from cigars.
And I love cigars, dude. I love cigars.
You can definitely hear it in his voice because like he went from like, I'm Clive Barker, and I'd like to tell you about my latest horror adventure. And then like I get the Blu-ray, the director's cut of Nightbreed. And he's talking like one of the sisters from The Simpsons. Like, how you doing, Marge? You need to lose that
right, like it gargled with gravel.
Yeah. He turned into a biker, too. He turned into a biker.
Right. Voice got all manly.
Yeah.
Manly and gravelly. Oh, man. So, look, I'm Matt, I'm glad that you like this because this is one of those movies where it's just like I said, it's like, do I recommend this? Do I recommend this movie? It depends on the person.
I'd recommend it to anybody. It's just that like there's certain movies that like I was saying earlier, you got to be willing to take that jump. There's some movies though that I take that jump and I don't like them. This one I liked. It's not something I'd probably go watch again. I might watch it one more time, but it's not something that I would go back and
watch it every couple of years. I watch it every couple of years.
I ain't gonna do that, but I'd probably watch it maybe with wife or something. But I respect it, and then as a horror movie, I don't know. I think that there was a lot of overacting, in my opinion, but I think that was part of the mania of the director. He wanted them to overact, and everybody's overacting. So this is one of those movies where you could go back and watch it you could watch it 2 more times.
Yeah, I love
3 viewings.
my favorite overacting is like the extreme rocking and the way that scene is framed when she's
oh my god,
yeah,
just
rocking
like really far back and really.
And there's so many ways you could take there's so much fan fiction you could do with this movie. Like you could be like, oh well, there were two different spies and they were fucking with some alien tech. You know what I mean? And then it got into his chick and they both wanted to fuck her. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different theories, but that you can kind of ground it, but it's not supposed to be that way.
Well, that's
no. You don't need everything fucking explained to you. That's the problem with contemporary movies. You have to explain everything to you.
Yeah, they talk down to you.
People need to go in and watch this as like an immersive art experience.
Thing about Lovecraftian style horror, and and he was inspired by Poe, is the unknowable, and we're not going to know everything.
So it's scary.
It's nice when movies feel free. Like I don't have to spoon feed you every friggin' detail because people are just dumb. Like
you can make up a bunch of stuff.
Like one of my favorite modern examples of a great piece of cosmic horror is probably Heredity.
Oh yeah,
Hereditary.
I would consider this cosmic horror too, personally.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean?
That was a baller of a film.
Definitely a cosmic body horror movie. This for sure. Like it's definitely up there. To me, this is a Lovecraft movie, not by Lovecraft. Like straight up.
Yeah.
Preston.
It's there from the beginning. Right from the beginning, you can feel those the dark ones, the elder gods.
Preston, have we sold you yet? Have we sold you yet?
I think I think I'm gonna put it on while I'm working, just to see what they got.
This is one of those movies that's going to command your attention. You're going to want to be present for this.
This movie did kind of make me want to watch In the Mouth of Madness again.
Yeah, me too,
and stuff like that. So I think
it made me appreciate Sam Neill as a actor in horror.
Yeah,
He's a fucking G, bro. Like, damn, he's a real G, in horror.
He is.
Whenever I go back to read my Lovecraft collected volume, I will now picture how these people are acting when it talks about the characters in the books going insane as they see things they can't comprehend or deal with. Because now I'm picturing how these people are acting. Because I really think they nailed that sort of Victorian vibe of what absolute apocalyptic madness would look like.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
For real. This is a little video that I found on YouTube. It's called let's see here. Possession out of context.
Oh boy.
Broke.
You want me to break down the bloody door? You don't have to. It's open.
Like that's comedy, yeah.
Great edit right there.
And it looks good,
Yeah. Worried that he's not there.
It looks good like The Shining does, the way it's shot, like great cinematography.
It's beautifully shot.
Oh, and the camera movement, so much good camera movement in there.
It's very. Oh yeah, the 360 ones circling around Sam Neill. He could have got an Oscar for this movie.
Yeah. Zalowski, I know, started making movies when he was in Poland. And that the authorities there, because Poland wasn't as bad as East Germany, but it was still a really gray, totalitarian country. It sucked, right? And the authorities, would pick out certain themes, little things in his movies, no matter how subtle they were, right? With the Hays Code, certain directors would do shit that would go over the heads of the censors. Something like... Johnny Guitar, right? Which is basically like a butch lesbian Western.
Oh, okay.
Right? With a completely, it's amazing. Actually, the plot for it was lifted for Once Upon a Time in the West. But it's one of those movies where you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe he fucking got away with this. This is fucking crazy. Joan Crawford and Mercedes McCambridge, and the male hero is basically just standing by impotently. Well, at least women just fucking go at it. It's amazing.
Chris Hemsworth and the Ghostbusters remake.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that just reeks of fuckery, actually, I would say.
Having sex with my wife.
Does our subject still wear pink socks?
Yeah, I can do as well can be better. I'm the best.
I have to go now.
That poor kid.
I know.
Yeah.
I know he's adorable too.
Did I tell you I had a wife and a daughter?
No. How long have I been here?
3 weeks, sir.
Even though these scenes are taken completely out of context, it actually does give you a good idea of what you're in for.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
How long have you been fucking me over? A year.
That dog didn't die of old age.
542-6261.
Where is it?
I don't know, Mark.
I'm sorry I used violence with you. Now I don't employ my psychic functions to make it come to me.
You're in loathing right there.
Heinrich's dead.
I love seeing you miserable. It's so
Divine? Am I right? Look, Mark.
Back up, then full speed and crash into the police car.
My pleasure, sir.
My pleasure, sir. You know what I mean? In real life, someone would been like, "Oh, I don't know," you know. But you see, every single you could find something just little off, bizarre. You know, every single character, even that. Everybody.
Yes. There's something very mischievous about this movie.
Yeah, right. Definitely. Yeah. Very Twilight Zone. A good Twilight Zone episode, like in 2-hour format.
Right. It's really, really strange. You know, I'm glad that it gets the love that it deserves now, because I wasn't expecting that. I thought that this was one of those movies that was going to stay under the radar forever, and it's not. Its reputation has increased in years since its release. It's amazing seeing movies like this get vindicated. Blade Runner, the first time I saw Blade Runner, I immediately knew I was watching a classic, and afterwards thought this is going to be considered a masterpiece in maybe 25 years, and I was wrong. It took about 15. Right?
I didn't like
The Thing. John Carpenter also.
It's
similar.
Weird. I think it was a bias I had. I didn't like Blade Runner for about the first 30 to 40 minutes because of Harrison Ford was playing such a different character, and that was just my bias as a young person enjoying Han Solo. And,
that may have affected the box office.
Yeah, but then once Rutger Hauer was so entertaining that won me over for the rest of the film.
Rutger Hauer was the main reason I want to see Blade Runner, not Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those. And the thing is, when it comes to science fiction films and depictions of the future, there's pre-Blade Runner and there's post-Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Blade Runner was so influential
Landmark.
that it inspired the cyberpunk genre. Mm-hmm. The novel Neuromancer takes which is where William Gibson pretty much created cyberpunk.
That's true, isn't it? There was no cyberpunk before Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Right. Because in other words, it's just a lot of genres, subgenres you could trace back to one specific work, and for that it would be Neuromancer, but Neuromancer is totally fucking working off of Blade Runner.
And Blade Runner is working off of all Metaphysical or Lant, right?
Well, a lot of Philip K. Dick.
Absolutely.
Philip K. Dick
Nobody
meets,
read that shit,
Well, Philip K. Dick meets Philip Marlowe. Basically, is what it is.
Did you watch Marlowe? Did you watch Marlowe?
I never put that together before, but you're right. Metal or not.
That's why I like the voiceover. Yeah. That's why the voiceover I always thought worked.
They didn't have the voiceover, the internal monologue in the movie. In Marlowe, have you seen Marlowe yet?
No, I didn't know that was the new Neil Jordan joint.
It's good. It's good. I mean, I don't know how old Marlowe is in the books, but it is Liam Neeson, and he is breaking some chairs over motherfuckers' backs in there. So, I mean, it's pretty cool. It is in Los Angeles, though, and it is an all-star cast.
Yeah, that's where the novels are set.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But, it's pretty decent, It's got that LA. It definitely feels like LA Confidential, the way it's shot and everything. Bunch of all-star cast. And the movie just goes. It's 2 hours, and I'm already in the last 30 minutes of it, but it's pretty cool.
Oh, man.
he's still a badass, man. Neeson, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Philip Marlowe is of course like one of the great characters. Raymond Chandler is one of those writers that, you know, has always been an inspiration to me. And he's one of those writers I think that more writers should study. You know, especially like when you see people doing kind of like detective stories these days, you can tell it's like, yeah, this motherfucker didn't read his
Marlowe.
Raymond Chandler.
They had the blinds in there too. They made sure he had his little blinds. You know what I mean? Like
the blinds with that nice silhouette.
But it's California, dude. So it's lit up like LA Confidential, you know, and you get like the Hat Squad feels, and it's pretty cool though. Like it's pretty grounded too. You actually feel like you're there, like in some ways, and some of the dialect, you know. And yeah, man. That it just seems like that movie went right under the radar. I remember seeing it at the Red Box like about a year ago, and like I gotta watch that shit. You know,
See,
I love that.
I love when people pay attention to things like that. When you know, because there was a trend to like basically whatever period you were in. A lot of times the people in the movies would talk like how the people on the street talk. But I like seeing those movies and shows like True Grit or Deadwood, where they've done the research to have people talk like they did back then, or as close as they thought they could. You know, like with the Spartacus series on HBO. You know, they were having them say things like gratitude and apologies and say like, you know, I'm sorry.
But they're also using terms like cocksucker, which was not a thing back then.
Obviously, yeah. So yeah, but I do appreciate them, you know, trying to bring those elements in.
Oh man, I gotta ask Chuck Dixon.
Turbo Kid.
I gotta ask Chuck Dixon a question, because one of the things that happens in the last issue of Six Gun Gorilla is he gives somebody the finger. And so I've done the research into the finger, the history of the finger, and I think it's okay for me to use it, but I've never seen it in a Western before. And Chuck Dixon is like the research guy, right? He's always been an inspiration to me in that respect, that I've always, whenever I'm writing anything, I do the fucking research, you know? I find like the 2 or 3 most essential books on whatever subject it is that I'm researching, and I read the damn things. So yeah, I gotta like, you know, homeboy Preston sent me some new breakdowns today, and it's
nice.
It's looking sweet. Real quick, I want to do Week in Horror, you know, which we usually do at the beginning. Wow,
dude.
Let's see. There's a new movie coming out from the people that made Turbo Kid and Summer of '84, right? Now, I'm always talking about Turbo Kid and how much I love Turbo Kid and how you.
Turbo Kid was awesome.
Turbo Kid, and I may have to do Turbo Kid on this stream just to make sure I'm getting people to watch the damn thing.
I think I've seen that movie actually.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I started watching the first like 30 minutes. I gotta finish it.
It's incredible.
I pulled up the history of the middle finger, Brian. Pulled up the history.
Is trying to get people to see these films that we loved, or like they might have flown under the radar, and give them a second chance sort of audience. Because like I love watching the videos of people discovering some of these classics or these quirky, enjoyable films for the first time.
I pulled up the history of the middle finger in Google. And so ancient Greece, we get French soldiers that severed fingers of English archers, so the middle finger became a defiant gesture. There's like 4 or 5 different things that are claiming it, right? It's like, what the hell? So, you know, another one says the U.S. Italian immigrants brought it here. And it's like, come on, man. There's got to be one.
You know, we watched a new horror movie last night, Starving Acres. And there's been a lot of movies coming out that are hitting on Irish horror. You know what I'm saying?
It's a tsunami, bro.
It had Doctor Who in it, like Matt Smith, you know? And, dude, it was like he was digging up this ancient tree that needed a blood sacrifice, like 3 people, mother, son, and father that had to be. It was crazy.
I'm going to go with ancient Greece, Brian. Ancient Greece, because they said they used it as a phallic gesture to offend, taunt, and poke others, and it's referenced in 419 BC comedy.
No shit.
An
So
actual
my gorilla
comedy.
can give the finger. That's amazing.
I mean,
I
it
thought
makes
so.
more sense
I thought
because,
so
you know,
because I remember researching it, but I got to be careful.
You know, that
And
makes
he
a
is
lot
a
of sense.
well-read gorilla.
You have to figure people were doing digital penetration for a very long time before they started using it as an insult sort of
That's
gesture.
what it is. Ancient Greece. It even references the actual play, the comedy play that they used it in. It's called The Cloud by Aristophanes or some shit. I can't remember.
For some reason, I googled like ancient condoms, right? You know, the Greeks were the first ones.
Yeah.
No bullshit. Like they would take sheep intestines, and use it as. I was like, get the fuck out of here, dude! Like crazy.
It's funny because like when I
Casanova
buy my first
also,
condoms,
I believe,
they asked me,
field tested some early condoms as well.
well, it's funny when I went to go to the pharmacy to get my first condoms, the dude asked me like if I wanted like latex or lambskin. I was like, oh, I guess they're still using the intestine.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
But speaking of Irish horror, I saw a really good Irish vampire movie not too long ago called I believe it's the Abertoch.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was just about to say that. I was just about to say because Preston was talking about something that has to do with the Abertoch, which is like he got buried under a tree out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know if that happens in the end of that movie.
In
That's
this
part of the folklore.
They're a cairn of rocks.
No.
It's based off of an actual legend they have.
The vampire, yeah.
And I love this because I love these waves of horror we get from other countries. Like I remember like when J horror and K horror first hit. And then for a while, like we're getting like all kinds of really good
the British
from Norway and Finland, like Tula.
Yep.
And Troll Hunter and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm all about my eras. Right?
And of course,
you look at
the French explosion of horror, like High Tension and Inside and Martyrs.
Martyrs. Yeah. No, it's always interesting to see, and that that's why it's like when I heard that Hammer was coming back. Whenever I see a British horror movie, I'm always or an Italian. I mean, Italian cinema was pretty much dead.
Oh
unfortunately.
man, Lakewood was so good.
I'm always like, it's like okay, like England back in the house, right? Because they gave us the Hammer horror movies and the Amicus anthologies, and it'd be great. All the great German horror movies from like the 1920s, right? It'd be great to see.
I don't know if I'd put too much stock into that. And here's the reason why.
Yeah.
Is because England seems to be like fucking the leaders with fucking woke culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they fucking, look what they did with Doctor Who. Like, they fucking destroyed that franchise, dude.
Have you seen the trailer for like the new Hammer movie? Because Hammer Studios is under new ownership. It was bought by a theater magnate, and like the guy works in the theater, right? As a producer. And he's bought Hammer Films, and he's like, Hammer is going to be horror again, and we're going to go hard gothic horror. And the first movie they're releasing is called Dr. Jekyll, I think, and it looks
I've seen it. Yeah,
it looks woke as fuck.
When Hammer first came back a few years ago, like I really dug The Woman in Black, the one with Daniel Radcliffe.
It was okay.
I thought that was amazing.
That first one's good.
And I really liked Wakewood quite a bit, which actually, come to think of it, also had another Harry Potter alum. The guy who played Wormtail was in that
Timothy
movie.
Spall. I think Timothy Spall's in that one. Yeah.
And so both of those were really good, but then they sort of dropped off the map. Like I don't know.
Right.
Like what happened, guys? Where's the good stuff? So I'm glad to hear they're coming back.
But but that's the thing is they're not coming back. They're coming back woke, right? In other words, Hammer's not going to be Hammer the same way that heavy metal wasn't heavy metal after Mark Waid and Alex DeCampi got their hands on it.
Why do everybody who has money, like, why are they reproducing?
Buying shit and fucking it up.
How come there's nobody out there that has money that's like us, that just wants to see
I know. Well, you know what? Robert Kirkman might buy DC. That is a possibility.
Wow. Now that would be something.
That would be great. That would be
It
great.
would, but I
Mark
don't think it would
Millar,
happen.
I think, because that dude has an empire now. That
If
dude
Kirkman
fucking.
buys DC, the first thing he's going to do is have Invincible kill Superman because he talks about that shit all the time. Like he would win in a fight,
And I would
he
totally be
have
down with that
Invincible
shit.
Or Omni-Man just beat the living shit out of Superman.
All right, let's take a look at this trailer. I haven't seen this yet, so I'm crossing my fingers because I really like these filmmakers. It's a brother and sister and the sister's husband. They're like a directing team.
Trio.
Yeah. Oh, it's Kick-Ass.
Can I get another milkshake?
Overpopulation, diseases, epidemics. We need to restore balance.
Got another pickup for you.
It's my father-in-law, and it's important that he be treated
Think we got him.
with dignity. At Coleman, we're dedicated to unlocking the secrets of the mind. Your colleagues have already taken... We got our pickup stolen.
Hey, big boy.
Dating a coworker is unethical because masturbating to zilfs on the internet makes you a relationship. Masturbating to
Zilfs.
Now that's
Zills?
amazing. That's amazing because he's not wearing an El Santo mask. He's wearing a Blue Demon.
He's wearing the Blue Demon.
So that's some
That's
fucking
awesome.
deep fucking lucha respect right there.
Because
I love the word
masturbating to
zilfs.
zilfs on the internet makes you
Right.
a relationship. Oh, you want to go there? I want to go there. The pickup was a trap.
We're here for a pickup.
It was a trap. We work for Coleman.
Grandma?
You stolen $25,000. We want the money back, or Sweet Old Grain over here goes bye-bye.
Hey, we need a quick job that pays.
You are the best in the hunting business. I want her on my arm for my big performance.
Bitch, do not throw a handful of glitter on me.
Queen of the dead.
We're here for Silverella.
Did you come here to save me from my pen?
So this looks like it's a heist movie with zombies in it. Is that?
Dude, I'm totally down with that.
Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, sure.
The police are looking for 3 suspects driving a green delivery van.
You got Burke Man in the chat, Brian.
Burke Man.
What do you think is going to happen when they turn against
What up,
us?
Burke Man?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present
One dude
Project
like
Sunshine.
Montana.
Let the show
Thank you, sir. He's a genius. What can I say?
How are we supposed to do now?
Okay, we charge at them and we hit them in the brain real hard. Don't let them bite you.
Great plan.
Check it out. It's fun.
I don't know that I need another zombie
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my life, but I'll watch it.
I know, dude. You got the Blue Demon in there killing zombies. I'm
Yeah.
down with that.
The last two
And
movies.
Zilfs?
Yeah, the monster and the monster,
I'll
with all
watch
the
it. I'm
arms.
down.
You know, that
I'm
thing
down.
is cool.
I'm down. Like I said, the first 2 movies that they made were really, really good. Summer of '84 is like a horror movie. That's about like a suburban serial killer and a kid that thinks that the guy living next door is the serial killer. And that's a movie that at a certain point, and I see movies do this all the time, it's like they take a sharp turn, but they don't commit.
And they turn back.
And this movie, takes a sharp turn and it commits like 100.
Is that the one with Christopher Lloyd? Is that the one with Christopher Lloyd?
No.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's like a serial killer?
Oh,
From the snow, I think. I forgot what it was. But it's,
I can't keep track.
It's like a Midwest one.
Christopher Lloyd's awesome.
Yeah. He was good in Nobody.
He is. Yeah, he is.
That's the team in Nobody too.
He's one of those guys that has aged in a really wonderful way.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
Where he's just like
old
looks,
already, you know.
He's like ancient, but it's like it's opened a whole new range of parts for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like if you kind of look older like that at a younger age. I think we've had this conversation before. Once you start getting older, you just kind of stay the same age, like Tommy Lee Jones,
Lee Van Cleef,
Bronson or Lee Van Cleef, him, Christopher Lloyd. It's It's kind of lucky that way.
Speaking of Bronson. Speaking of Bronson. Oh my God. Oh my. I got
Lance Henriksen.
Yeah, right.
There's a guy who looks old forever.
I just Bronson Christgau, dude.
Whatever it was. Bronson crashed.
I just Bronson Christgau.
Check this out. I'm not even gonna give this an introduction. You're just gonna, and I haven't seen this trailer, but I know what it is. You guys don't know what it is, but you'll find out real fast.
Time to get up already.
Bronson.
Happy anniversary.
This is like Robert Bronte, the guy that's like the no, I'm sorry, it's Robert Bronzy. Yes. This is the guy who's been making movies as a Charles Bronson lookalike because even though he's not an actor.
Oh, this guy.
Yes, because he looks exactly like fucking Charlie Bronson.
That's funny.
Is it today? Happy anniversary.
Did you guys see that movie Bronzy?
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
About the worst fucking villain.
Yeah, that's amazing. Chopper is an even better movie about like an even crazier motherfucker.
Anniversary.
Oh man, he's gonna be looking for some fucking payback. He's gonna be looking for some fucking revenge. You know that.
This is Rhodes. I have information about your wife. We found another body last night. The wounds are just like Tammy's. Now, all this time, we figured Tammy's murder was a random act. Where were we? Now, apparently, that is not the case. But I am reinstating you on a provisional basis. This guy is taunting you, but he wants you in play. So.
Bronson, motherfuckers, Bronson.
He's pulling some talent too.
Fake, no AI, no CGI.
There's got some pretty big actors in here. Like they got the grandpa from the Monsters.
Like this dude's resting bitch face looks like Bronson giving you the scowl.
Yeah.
Let's put you in play.
That guy.
Because he's not a good actor.
He's got
do something
the auto mag.
Or what?
There's Peter and your wife. Do you know any of the other victims?
It was some ungodly type of howl.
Looks like there's going to be a full moon tonight.
What? Last.
Yep. Bronson versus werewolves.
That's Tito Ortiz.
Yeah, that's exactly what
that is. Tito.
There's a gang of actors in this movie.
Yeah.
Or just celebrities at least.
Right.
That's bad.
Down.
Robert Bronson,
yeah, look at that piece, bro. Is it? Where can I watch this, Brian?
Back with the Wildy.
I want to watch this right now.
I know.
About to pull a Dillard. Yeah, Roebuck, yeah. Ooh,
you look familiar.
Well, yeah, because it's a reference to like, oh man, if my homeboy Chris is listening. By the way, Chris, much love to you if you are listening. One of his favorite movies is 10 to Midnight. Like one of the great sleaze classics.
Nice.
Yeah, so evidently this is Bronson versus werewolves.
I'm down.
I'm down too.
You look familiar.
Oh, I'm here.
I get that a lot.
You look familiar.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Hey,
oh,
I take that over Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom.
I can't believe they're doing that.
I'm so checked out. Checked out. I give zero fucks.
I don't care.
Yeah, no,
I stopped caring in 2018, I think.
Yeah, I've been checked out. At least.
I'm all about 12 to midnight, bro.
Right? That's exactly.
I'm all about Robert Bronzy, bro.
Right.
Yeah, watch
Robert Downey Jr.
I'd rather watch that than Deadpool versus Wolverine.
Hey,
in a fucking heartbeat.
Probably, dude.
Oh no, you guys have me sold on Deadpool versus Wolverine.
I haven't seen that yet.
I'm not watching that shit.
I haven't seen it yet. I've been waiting.
I might
to see
have
it,
to see it. Like,
I mean, I'll
stacked it up so much. I think I just got to see it. I mean,
well, yeah. No, I heard the fight scene at the end is epic. You know,
I'm
I've seen so much shit online though, like so much spoilers. You know, it's just like fuck. Dude,
well, you
like,
said that there's going to be Gambit in there. There's going to be Sabretooth and all
this
these motherfuckers.
This is the thing that's like, because people are
Yeah,
trying to get me to go see it. People are trying to get me to go see it, right?
Oh yeah, you have to go see it. You have to.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It's like
Dude, I saw
the
this
bait
fight today.
keeps
Oh my
getting better
god.
and better.
Dude, I saw this fight today. Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's a car fight with him and Wolverine. Oh my god. And I've just seen so many spoilers. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, you have to go see the movie in the theater. Like,
Here's
like
the thing.
the
Here's the
fight
thing that's
scenes for
fucking
the
me
fight
up.
scenes alone. You know.
Here's the thing that's fucking me up. It's like the bait is there. I'm like, no, that's bait, right? And they keep putting out juicier and juicier bait. The current bait,
dude. I want you to understand something
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Like I know I'm going to be disappointed. I know I'm going to be disappointed. But everybody's talking so much shit about this that I have to give it a shot.
Well, for me, it's like it's Saturday Night Live, dude. It ain't even a movie. It's not even a movie. I'm going there for a couple of the fight scenes and a couple of appearances.
Fucking Wesley as Blade for about like 25 minutes of the movie, like where he's central to the plot.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Where he's fucking people up and he's firing rocket launchers and shit.
I saw that.
I'm just like,
I've seen that.
goddamn.
Okay.
Yeah, you see, that's another thing that's got me sold on it. I mean, it's
like, why would I not go see that?
Fucking Wesley coming back as Blade now.
Yeah, and just seeing Wolverine in the mask fighting motherfuckers, I'm already in there to watch it, even if it's fucking parody.
Is he wearing the mask or is that like?
He wears
like
it for a little bit.
No, he's wearing.
I gotta tell you, like, this is what I've always wanted. Always wanted to see the original Wolverine in the original costume. You know what I'm saying? On film.
That's the original bait. Yeah, that's the initial bait.
That actually, I know he started out with the blue and yellow costume. My favorite was always the brown and tan costume, and I saw a clip that showed him in the brown and tan.
I think he's in that too.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil the movie. You want me? Well, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it.
Go for it.
No, go ahead, brother.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I know that this. Yeah, right. So what I do know is he goes to fucking multiple dimensions, and there's multiple Wolverines.
Yes.
So there's like 10 different Wolverines in there.
Yeah.
From the comics.
Yes.
You know.
Nice.
And like he'll be in the brown and tan thing, and he'll put his claws up like that, and then Hulk will come by, and that'll be like the cover where he's got the Hulk and the.
Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill.
I saw Cavill as Wolverine. He looked good. You know. So I don't know. And then I hear the fight scene at the end. I hear the fight scene at the end is the shit. And the fight scene I saw with him and Deadpool in the fucking car, that shit was pretty dope, dude. Like it was brutal.
You know what? First, I'm seeing Longlegs. That's next on my list, and then maybe. That's
like the last Marvel movie I watched, and that was mostly just because we're going to do a review because I heard what they did with the Taskmaster. I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah,
want to see
same
it.
here. That's why I didn't watch it.
So I watched Black Widow just because we were going to review it, but I haven't watched a single Marvel movie just for the sake of enjoying it.
Yeah,
since Endgame.
The last one I watched,
crap was coming.
and I was anticipating was and I was completely disappointed was Mobius because I'm a huge Morbius fan. Right?
Dude, I'm a huge Morbius fan. That's why I stayed the fuck away from it.
Well, I watched it because I was like, Jared Leto.
When I heard that he was cast, I was like, I'm out.
But Jared Leto is the perfect like he looks like Morbius. But the problem is that he's short.
Put on makeup.
He's short, and the way they did the transformation with Matt Smith. Matt Smith was a terrible pick to be in Morbius. You know what I'm saying? Terrible.
Kind of weird.
Jared Leto is not an actor. He is a male model.
Well, he's a musician.
There's definitely, I would like to see some sort of director's cut because there's something in the editing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like there's pieces of the story that are missing that would have fleshed things out better.
Made it a little better.
If you could just remove every scene with Jared Leto in it, then maybe I'd watch it.
Dude, when Matt Smith was in front of the mirror, just changing back and forth real quick, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
No practical effects, man. No practical makeup because it's Leto, you know?
I was like, this is retarded.
He's the second coming of Christ. You expect
No, it wasn't Jared Leto though. It was them like just making him click back and forth, like from
lame.
vampire to human. I'm like, what is going on here, dude? This is dumbest. Who approved this shit?
And bless the meme makers. Bless the meme makers, because they trolled the studio
Morbin
so
time.
hard with
Yeah.
its Morbin time that the studio was so stupid.
Did respond?
They thought, oh, it's Morbin time. It's
Right.
like the #1 meme right now. So let's put it
Yeah.
back in theaters, and now people will go and see it.
Mhm.
And it bombed again. It has the history of having been a box office bomb twice.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
got to be some kind of a fucking record.
And for me,
It
Deadpool,
is.
dude, it's not canon. It's just a comedy with some cool action in it. You know what I mean? That's what Deadpool is to me. I don't count that as like this like it's just comedy with some pretty dope ass fight scenes in it. You know?
Only way they can screw up Deadpool is make it serious.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean,
And like the first appearance of Deadpool in that Wolverine movie where he had no mouth, I was like, who approved that?
That was horrible.
that's a really bad movie. That's a really bad
It's funny too because
Yeah.
I watch Studio 80i. I'm subscribed to their channel on YouTube, and they were talking about that, and they're like, yeah, they told us this, and like we're fans of the comic, and we're like, this ain't Deadpool. So they talked about how like the scarification they put on his face, they tried to at least reference the mask.
The mask.
Yeah, you
Yes,
see
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Around his eyes.
The merc with the mouth had no mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's exactly right.
Worst thing ever. That's why that dude had a vendetta to make the trilogy, you know, and do it right, I guess.
It was so great that Ryan Reynolds like loved the character so much and championed it that they made that CGI proof of concept, which made it into the final friggin' film years later. I'm so glad that they actually included that scene.
Yeah, but he had a fight on his hands, from what I understand. Like Deadpool 2 and 3, like they were trying to go woke as fuck with it. And he was like, nope.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, so far, like the stuff I've seen, like it would, you know, it give me in the seats. And then the action, because I hadn't seen like a brutal, like kind of really cool action scene, like leaked yet, and the car fight was pretty dope. So I was like, all right, I'll go, you know. And then everyone's just raving about the end fights, the action fight scene at the end. So, you know, and I know Wolverine puts on the mask at the end, and I've seen him put it on.
The Wesley thing is what's really.
Well, I've seen the Wesley thing. I've seen part of it, but I want to see Wesley pull his fucking katana and slice some fools up. You know,
I just think Wesley's doing this
the
because
rocket monster.
He's trying to get The Exile turned into a feature film.
Yeah,
I think this is his foot in the door to do it. Back in the door to do it.
The Exile, is that his,
or maybe even a Blade movie also. You know, that'd be cool.
Check this out. Check this out. This is a new still from Terrifier 3.
Yeah, that's that new character right there, I think. Yeah.
Ooh.
That's terrifying.
That looks good.
Gruesome,
Dude,
right?
Deadpool versus Terrifier would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, it would.
I would watch that shit.
Look at that. That looks like an old school hag witch, man.
That's the chick, right? From the first movie?
Oh, yeah, it is. It is a chick.
Yeah. But look at her skin. Her skin looks reptilian.
Yeah, it does.
Looks like she's changing or something.
It's crazy.
Right? And her eye is an unnatural color. Because the thing is, it's like at this point in the franchise, like at the end of the first one, it was established, okay, this is something supernatural.
Yeah.
And then there's, clearly, the little demon girl and everything, supernatural shit happening in the second movie. And then, of course, that very memorable ending where she gives birth to, like, Art's severed head.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So who knows where Leone is going with this? Except it's going to be in a bold direction.
If you're going to do a series, you don't have to explain things. We've already said, like, we don't want everything spoon-fed to us. We don't want things explained. But I do like to see an expansion of the lore without giving everything away.
Yeah, I do too.
That's a possibility. I'd be down.
And that's what they're That's what they're doing here. Like, this is some good lore expansion. Each film, they give you just a little bit more without overdoing it.
Right.
What's your thoughts on the 2004 Punisher movie?
The Thomas Jane?
I really like it, but it's more of a Charles Bronson movie than it is a proper Punisher movie.
I thought it was fantastic.
I love it. I love it. I own multiple copies, when they came out with the extended version, and
I like the Dolph Lundgren version.
Yeah, I like them all three movies.
Oh, that's the Ray Stevens version's great.
That's my
They
favorite.
would have done their research on the weapons he was using.
Frank Darabont movie? Oh man, I have to say The Mist. I have to say The Mist. Most people say Shawshank Redemption. I love The Mist. I think it's brilliant. I think that's a terrific movie.
Me too.
I thought it was very, very underrated when it came out. I still think it's
the only thing I do not like about that movie is the ending. And I know people are like, oh,
that's
what it's supposed to be down.
Yeah.
I'm going to explain why the ending of that movie sucks. And me and my brother got out the film like the fucking ending sucks. Here's why. Because it's a spit in the face of Thomas Jane's character. And here's why. Because that one woman wanders off into the mist alone. Like, won't somebody walk a woman home to find her child? Everybody's like, fuck the mist. We're not going out there. You're on your own, right? She goes, what do we see at the end? As he has just murdered his friends and his own child.
Yeah.
Is dead. She rides by with her kid. That is the biggest fuck you to that character.
No, it is.
No, there is no way she would have survived out there all on her own.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. But that's, you see, I love that ending. I love that ending.
I did too, because it like puts salt in the wound. You
exactly.
know what I'm
saying? For a horror movie, I thought it was a brilliant ending.
You can have that ending without that woman passing by and looking at like, oh, it sucks to be you.
No, well,
I'd have been fine with it. But
that makes it even worse. That's the point. Yeah, but that's the point. That's the point.
Bullshit. There's
you see, let me tell you why that was a fantastic ending. Because it invoked emotion in you.
Yeah.
That's why it was a great ending.
More horror for you.
You know what that is? That's a
right. It pissed you off. Maybe it was meant to.
Right there.
No, that's what I'm saying. If there's a villain in a horror series, and that villain makes you mad, like they succeeded in making a fantastic villain. Saying like,
yeah.
When you're like, oh, kill that motherfucker.
In the original novella, it just ends abruptly. Right? So Darabont needed to create a new ending. And I think he went in a very radical direction. And what it said to me, what the message of the movie was don't throw in the towel. You have to stay in it no matter how bleak things get.
But at the same,
you can't give up because salvation could be just around that corner.
It's still such a fuck you because not only that is like, because
I understand why people don't like it.
The Stephen King story ends on a downer. It's a downer ending because, like, he knows his wife is dead. They have no prospect for the future.
But it's abrupt.
That faint radio signal that comes through, and they get that one word, hope. So they have, like, this faint hope. But in this movie, the military is blowing away the mist. It's setting all the monsters on fire. We're going to win. And this lady, who had the courage to go off on her own and get her kid, got her kid, and screw you, and everything we've been through with you, for this whole movie.
Well, because he thought it was hopeless.
Yeah,
that's because he thought it was hopeless, and it wasn't.
Because the very next scene that happens is that guy just throws his head under a passing tank tread. Yes. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I know, right? But you know what? I can see why he never walked the woman to help her find it because he had his son to protect. So it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the movie makes you feel like they're all cowards. And it's understandable. She is right to protect her kid. She is right. She's also right to stay there and protect his kid.
But
they're
here's
both right. So you can't just fuck you to that guy like that.
But I think the point of that movie.
It's a horror movie, dude. That's
no. But what I think the point was like there was really no survivors. Like even though he survived at the end, he really didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, she survived. Her and her kids survived.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that's because he gave up. That's because he gave up. That's because he thought it was hopeless, and it wasn't.
I mean, that's an excellent point, Brian. But at the same time, they didn't have to do it like that.
I know. Look, the fact that it provoked a strong reaction out of you, I think, is still a good thing. Right? Because the worst thing you can have is no reaction. No response.
I say a reaction just to get shock value out of the audience to pull a
but that's not that. But I don't think that's an example of that.
That didn't serve the story at all. That was a fuck you.
I thought it did. I thought it did. We have to agree to disagree, sir.
If the military comes by, they are saving the day. The point that he gave up, they didn't hold out long enough. Still would have stood. But her on that track.
Well, yeah, it's like the Night of the Living Dead, right? Like in Night of the Living Dead, and a lot of people miss this because of the sequels. In Night of the Living Dead, it's the night of the living dead. That is to say, they get a hold of it, they get the situation under control, and the next day, dawn is risen and the zombies are being destroyed. Of course, also some other people get shot in the head that shouldn't be getting shot in the head.
That's a great horror movie ending that wasn't a fuck you to that
Brilliant.
character.
Brilliant. But some people
I can tell what's going on with Bracey here. Bracey's a Thomas Jane fan, and I am too.
I love Thomas Jane.
Like, even though I do like Thomas Jane, ever since I saw him in Deep Blue Sea, I was like, this guy is somebody to watch.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. He's working out with John Bernthal right now because John Bernthal's going to do the Punisher. So I saw that shit on Twitter. Those dudes are homies, I guess. So they're working out together.
I've heard about that. The thing is, I can't stand John Bernthal's Punisher. He's not a bad actor. I think he's a good actor, but he plays that character completely wrong. He's too hot-blooded. He's always going. He's like that's the Punisher for jocks.
He was perfect.
Real Punisher is supposed to be a cold-blooded.
That's
killer.
why I like the Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
Ray Stevenson was the Ray Stevens Punisher was the best screen Punisher we've gotten.
He's my favorite.
It's not the best movie.
What I liked about the Thomas Jane Punisher is he had that Vietnam kind of stare, even though they didn't put him in Vietnam. When you looked at him after his family slaughtered, that guy looks dead inside. I mean, Thomas Jane sold that look.
Yes.
He looked like a guy who had nothing to lose anymore.
Yes, very much so, because that's exactly where that character was at the time. He conveyed that beautifully. We're coming up on, let's see, it was 11:42. So it's like a little over 2 hours. I need to stretch and get something to eat. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. And next week we're going to have
special guest Thomas Jane will be here. Talking about his new role in The Mist 2.
Yeah. Dirty London.
Brian, nobody caught anything you said, dude. You froze the whole time.
No, I know. Every time, I know that. Every time I load a clip or another screen or something like that, it always does that. That's just the way it is now.
He sells death to the highest bidder. He'll sell your life for what he thinks it's worth. He is the mercenary. If you are not ready to buy,
Franco.
you're ready
Franco
to die. Mercenary. He aims for the money. His gun does the rest. Franco Nero, Tony Musante, Jack Palance.
Oh man, yeah, Jack Palance in this is fucking incredible.
I was not
remember
ready
Compañeros, right?
Yeah.
This is pretty much the same thing.
I can't wait.
This is pretty much the same thing. This was actually before Compañeros, but it is has a lot of the same cast, and Franco Nero pretty much plays the exact same character.
Giovanna Ralli. The mercenary. The sun at his back, a gun at his side, a town at his mercy.
Oh, buck him down, buck him down, buck him down, buck him down, buck him down. Franco just straight up fucking dumping them in ditches.
I just gotta say that's one hard nipple to be able to strike a match off of.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Score, of course, by Morricone. Morricone was doing so many scores at this point, he couldn't conduct them all. That is to say, he would just write them, and the guy that you always got, if you couldn't get Ennio Morricone, was Bruno Nicolai.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm pumped this with it. I think if they were gonna do a remake of Django, they should get one actor that reminds me of Franco Nero is Travis Fimmel, Ragnar from Vikings.
Oh,
looks like him.
Yeah. Well, they already did a remake of Django.
1,000 of them.
Ray swapped them.
Oh yeah,
dude, I don't know. Like that dude from like he was great in Vikings, but I seen him in Boy Destroys World or something like that.
Oh yeah.
At first
he was okay, but he just plays Ragnar. Like he just plays Ragnar in every role. Like it's
Go back and
he's good in Vikings.
Patrick Swayze's last TV series. Patrick Swayze's last TV series is called
Beast. Yeah, I remember him from Beast.
Travis Fimmel is his partner in that.
Yeah, that was the first thing I ever saw him was in Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, he almost, who they were going after Viggo Mortensen for that role, but he's like, I ain't doing it. for Ragnar, it was him and then another big actor, Mads Mikkelsen. They both turned it down. Like they had that kind of fuck you money when that show started, and then the guy that played Rollo, he almost got the role a bunch of times. I watched a podcast today on Grimfrost, which is Amon Amarth's singers.
I'm glad they went with Fimmel
company.
Because I like the.
He's perfect.
As much as like Mads and Viggo, they're a bit older. It was nice.
Yeah, and they're Scandinavian too.
It's easier to make a younger guy look older as the series progressed versus the other way around.
And he didn't even have the accent down either. He was like he did the audition in his kitchen, in Australia. Yeah, I'm Ragnar Lothbrok. Yeah, he didn't have the we're going to Viking.
Before we go raping and pillaging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they didn't have nothing.
By the way, Matt, have you watched Vinland Saga?
No, is that the anime or what?
Yes.
I think you'll like it. The thing is that season 2 of Vinland Saga.
Yeah.
It's like it tells the whole story of the main character, right? So the first season he's in berserker mode. The second season he's in like he's
older.
scarred. And he's
it's like King Conan.
Yeah, he's kind of like a monk in the second season. Okay. You see what I'm saying? And like a lot of people complained about it because there's no fucking action. And it was that's not the point. You know what I'm saying? Like
because it's all about his father, right? Because his father was like the greatest Viking warrior ever, but he was also a Christian, and he wanted out of that world and wanted to just raise a family and just be a nobody. But then, of course, people find out that he pretty much was a deserter. He's still alive, and I don't want to ruin anything for you. The less you know going in, the better. But it's great because it's like a Viking story, but with a lot of the anime tropes. It's very Japanese, deep into right? like the fight scenes and everything.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the manga for it?
I don't know.
That's how
there is a manga, but I can tell you this:
there is a manga. Okay.
It goes deep into character development.
Yes, it's very good. It's very good.
I think that was what's her name's big influence. Rini, that's like one of her biggest influences. I heard Green Dish.
Yes,
I loved it. I thought the whole...
I didn't check it out because just for me, it's just like they got to look a certain way, and it's just like
dude. It's one of those things. It's one of those things. It's like, and we all know this.
Really anal about the art.
No, I understand.
There's another thing too. While Brian's frozen, 2 other animes you should check out. Basilisk.
Yes.
Now the first
amazing
version of Basilisk is awesome. The second one, it's cool, but it takes a little bit more to get into. And also, Kaiju number 8.
Yes.
At first, I wrote that off, and I was like,
I do
it's not that great. And then I watched the whole thing. I was like, dude, this is really fucking good.
Yeah, some of them are really good.
Really
When they're good, they're good. You know.
Yeah.
I really like the old shit though, like from the '80s. You know, like Vampire Hunter D and
That's what, like I was looking for something like Ninja Scroll, right?
Yeah, I've seen some
And
of that too. That's old as
anything
well.
I've seen was not like Ninja Scroll. But then I ran across Basilisk. Dude, it's exact. It's like a whole series of Ninja Scroll. You know what I'm saying? Where the ninjas
And
are
these
like
ninjas
supernatural.
that have like these like deformities, and,
Yeah.
like, mutant powers and shit. It's really entertaining.
One of them, he's
with
like
ninjas having
he has no like arms or
X-Men
legs.
versus X-Men
Oh,
ninjas,
what?
and they're having a
Yeah.
feud like the Hatfields and the McCoys. And
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Like the dude with no arms and
Big
legs, like his
Yeah.
style is being a snake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I
he
was saying.
struggles.
Yeah.
Must be a
And he has a
Sidewinder.
sword that he swallows, and it comes out like whenever that's his only attack.
Out of his
Yeah,
butt
because
or
they're
whatever.
assassins, right? And some of them
Yeah.
are very specialized for specific
Crazy.
types of assassinations. You'll love it. You'll love it. And Villain Saga, it's one of those shows. I think about 3/4 of the way into the series. And every time I sit down to watch, it's one of those things where I'm just like, man, this would give Matt a boner.
What's
Dude,
it on?
Matt would love this.
What's it on? Do you know what it's on?
I think it's on
Netflix.
Netflix, but you
Oh,
can,
Netflix,
you know,
okay.
I mean, I
I'll check it. I'll check it
pirate
out.
most of my shit. You
I
know?
don't know if they have the dub version on
Yeah.
Netflix. Do
Let
they?
me throw
Or-
They do.
some quick Viking trivia at you. After watching Vikings, I had to look up some notes to see what actually happened to some of the characters, how close they got to the historical
Yes.
fiction.
Not close at all. Yeah.
And,
I hate
some
that
of it's
show.
close, you know, like how Ragnar went out, things like that. It was actually his son Bjorn who pulled the move to get into the Paris city by pretending to be a Christian. That wasn't
there's
Ragnar.
so much.
But my favorite was how Ivar the Boneless actually ended up. He ended up settling in Ireland. He lived out his life there. And this guy is such a badass that he said, like, you know, if you bury me on this land, nobody will be able to conquer you as long as I'm here. And that's true. Every time
No.
somebody tried and invade the land that he established in Ireland, they would get their asses kicked until somebody got the bright idea to dig his bones up. And then they finally won.
Yeah, dude. The thing about the Vikings,
That's
whenever
badass.
they immigrate
Badass.
somewhere, they become those people.
Badass from the grave.
know, They
Yeah,
lay down
exactly.
their roots and they become those people. If they go to Russia, they become the Rus, and they don't leave, and that's them. That's who they are now. You know,
Yep.
they go to
Dude,
Ireland.
the
and become-
Varangi, dude, you got to check out the Varangi, like the Knights of Templars, like special forces that were Vikings, dude. Those guys were
That sounds
fucking
cool.
sick, son. They were
I know, it'd be great to
insane.
make a comic book about them. That's the thing. History is so much stranger than fiction. It really
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It's not just a cliche, right?
Oh, it's true.
And filmmakers and novelists are always having to change events in historical dramas,
Oh, yeah.
historical fiction. They're having to change shit because the truth is just too unbelievable.
Vikings
like
is the
Arena's
worst
like,
though.
nobody will
Valhalla.
believe this shit.
Nobody will
They-
believe that, right?
they-
Nobody
they-
will believe this happened. It
Yeah.
actually happened.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, that's it's long been that way. Anyway, hey everybody, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Spank that like button, hit the subscribe ring, ding ding dong, the bell for notifications. Like I said, next week
Spank
we're doing
that like
Spaghetti Western
button.
Jamboree. We're doing the
Dirty
Mercenary
girl.
by Sergio Claudiucci. What was that, Bracey?
I said spank that like button because she's been a dirty.
Spank it, spank it, like it's the French Olympics. Matt, all these people where they can find you.
You guys can find me here on Thursday nights. You can find me on my channel, Metal Movies and Brewskis, usually on Saturday nights at midnight, where we talk about metal movies and monsters, a bunch of metal shit.
Yeah.
You can check out my channel for I'm doing Conan reviews now. And if you want to check out my horror western Butch Cleaver, I got comic books on butchcleaver.com, and I mail those off daily. So thanks, Brian, for having me on. I really appreciate it, bro.
Oh, dude, thank you for being here, man. I'm glad you liked the movie too.
Oh, hell yeah.
Bracey, tell these people where they can find you, sir.
All right, on X, you can find me at Bracey452. If you're interested in seeing my art, you can go to DeviantArt, look for Bracey100. I am a member of the Comic Crusaders, so if you go to the Comic Crusaders website, you can find articles I've written, basically movie reviews, comic book reviews, that sort of thing. And also for the Comic Crusaders on YouTube, you can find the Cinema Crusaders, where we talk about movies that are 10 years old or older, and we do analysis, do our pros and cons, things we like about them, sort of like what we do here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you for hanging
yes,
out.
and I'm sorry, God, how can I forget this? Bloodworld Phoenix Throne is on Kickstarter. Please go back the comic book. If we meet one of our stretch goals, our writer, creator of the Bloodworld, will get a tattoo of a space monkey. And go check out the page and find what space monkeys are on his person somewhere. I'm hoping this is like that cheek myself. That's commitment, people. Make it happen.
That's original, man. That's an original perk right there. Yeah, dude, feel free to drop the link in the chat so we can share it.
I do not have it on my iPad because if I try to do things on my iPad on like a computer, I will just lose.
I get it. It's all good. But we'll try to get that link so
Kickstarter, Bloodworld, Phoenix Throne. Watch this again if you need to.
Yeah, you'll find it if you search for it. Preston, where can people find you?
X. Nikki the Pipe on X.
Also known as the Twatters.
Yeah. Also known as the Twatters.
Where can people find you? You know
Scrolling right there down below you.
Yeah.
Nope, there it is.
Find us here at the Madness Comic Network, and you can find Blood Throne right there.
Oh, Pops, love you.
Hell yeah.
Also, let me say real quick, I am booking guests for Freewheeling Friday tomorrow night at 11, and Monday Madness, 5 o'clock and 5:45. Booking guests for this all month. If anybody wants to be out, you got to let me know, guys. You got to let me know.
All right. And everybody, you can catch me, of course, on the Twatters, on the Facebooks at Brian Christgau. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would be great. Getting close to 1,000 subs, but slow but steady wins the race. And, of course, you can find Six Gun Gorilla on Indiegogo. And, there you can get the trade paperbacks. But what you really want to do is you want to go to Fund My Comic. And fundmycomic.com, go there, and you will see my campaign right on the front page. And check it out, because everybody who sees it seems to get a kick out of it. And,
it's dope.
Yeah. It's not like me being braggadocious. Everybody who reads it seems to love it. So, you can download the entire first issue for free.
It's absolutely well deserved.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, everybody. Pops, you ready to take us out?
I got this.
Okay. All right, everybody. Until we see you next week. Peace, love, and metal.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they have just, I mean, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Of the royal armament, sword of restoration, prophetess of technology, and defender of the faith. I am Isabet Arnev of the House of Beatitude, and none shall dislodge me from the Phoenix throne.
Who am I, you ask? I was created in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by the waste of a dying world. I was bestowed with an insurmountable task: bring peace after decades of death, persecution, and chaos. I am a grandchild of war, destined to help two camps which hate has fueled for far too long. Surprisingly, I am not alone. Have an odd bunch to make the road a little more bearable. Come with me, to bring hope where there was despair, respect where there was resentment, creativity where there was destruction. I am Pinocchio. And this is my story.